All right, we're live. Hey, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight?
What's up, everybody?
We got Bug Dude, Klingon Princess, One Happy Gal to Be Here. Man, that's a really awesome name. Bug Dude. Who else we got? We're up to 7 people. I guess we can. Virginia Roots, hello. We can hoot and holler for a little while, try to get some people in the room before we do the drawing and get started. Spotted Fawn, hello.
And yes, Bug Dude, I always wash my hands. Soap and water. I don't like to sanitize stuff. Just good old soap and water works so much better. Been proven for years and years.
Trish Wiley, hello. Welcome to the show. So how's everybody doing with this gas crisis? Like all the gas stations around me were out of gas except for one, and I think they just actually had a delivery today. But I was laughing my butt off. I filled up days ago. I mean, if you're out of gas today when you had a 72-hour warning that this was going to happen, you're pretty much an idiot. I mean, come on. They told you Friday it was going to happen, and it would be Monday before it kicked in.
Yep. Well,
I did get word that some of the lateral pipes in North Carolina are operating under manual.
Well, the correct answer for everybody should have been, I'm a prepper. I'm not what it's.
Yeah.
Because we've got over 3/4 of a tank in both our other vehicles and pretty much full tank in our my wife's ride, which that thing gets like 35-40 miles to a gallon. And I mean, there's not anything that I couldn't do multiple times with the gas that I got here.
Right.
I mean,
same here.
It comes down to it, honestly. To go down to the store, I'll hop on my 4-wheeler. It's full of gas too.
I mean, the distances that I drive with the amount of gas I have stored, my gas will go bad before I run out.
That's me.
I might get, at worst case scenario, I might need to go 6, maybe 10 miles a week. In that Honda I got out there, the economy, hell, it gets 35-40 miles to the gallon.
Yep.
Hey, Emily, Moonlight Gypsy, Waterwell Guy, COVID-19 SARS-2, Dana Chavez, Trish Wiley, Frank Macha. Welcome, everyone.
Yeah, I've got that little Acura, and that it's a Acura. I don't know, RSX something. It's a little 5-speed. Man, you can put like $15 in it, and it seems like you said, the gas will go bad in it before it runs out.
Shit kicker, Michigan lifestyle. Do stuff with Nikki. Hello, Nikki.
Hey, Nikki,
Lady Hammer. What's going on, Lady Hammer? All right, guys. So I guess we're right at 20 people. So I guess we can go ahead and do the drawing. What I did, I went back through all the emails that I've received since I first started doing What Would Ghosts Do, and even if I already did a video on yours and you sent it 2 months ago, I went back and I recounted everybody that sent me a scenario, and I included them into the drawing. And also what I did is if you sent multiple scenarios, your name goes in more than once. And I'm going to read off the names real quick that are in the drawing. If you feel like you sent a scenario in and I accidentally missed your name, because I was going from 3 different email addresses and trying to get everything from the chat because people were just sending them everywhere. I'm going to read the names off. If you don't hear your name, just direct me to your scenario and I'll figure a way to make it up to you. All right. Here's the list of names, and there's quite a few people on here that are in the drawing. Wow. Surfer Patriot, Marius Metal, Carmen Groth, Appalachian Prepper, Lily on the Bayou, Soraya Majority, Stacy Serrels, Les Cupcake, Mad Shad, Klingon Princess, Zani or Zane. I wish I knew how to pronounce that. Zani, Hutch Homestead, WNC 103, Jennifer McCarson, Cheryl Kentucky Girl, Cindy B, The Oily Prepper, Gary Bulldog Prepper, Jan Wood, and Nikita Ops. Also, one other thing is Cheryl Kentucky Girl sent in, I thought she sent in a scenario email, and it was an email asking to get it in the drawing, and she needed to know what parameters for the scenario. But I didn't actually read that email. I thought it was just a scenario, and I didn't read it until today. So I sent her an email, and I let her know that I'm including her in the drawing, even though she hasn't submitted a scenario yet, because that was my fault. But she is going to send in the scenario. And most everybody on here submitted just one. A couple of people sent in 2 or 3, and Soraya majority. I tell you what, even if your name isn't drawn, I'm going to send you some kind of a prize, because Soraya majority sent in 9 scenarios. She sent us 9 weeks worth of scenarios, and they're all actually really good. I read through 7 of them. They're pretty good. So what I'm going to do is, I've already got everybody's name on a little piece of paper in the bucket here. I'm going to shake it up real good. While I'm shaking it, we'll talk about the prizes. I couldn't really decide exactly what to do as far as the prizes go, so I'm going to give them an option. Option A is, if you live close enough to me, I'll give you a male and a female breeding pair of meat rabbits from my stock that I start breeding here in about 3 weeks. So that's $140, $150, $160 deal there. They're New Zealand and California crosses. They're awesome rabbits, and you guys have seen them on the video. You can do that. Obviously, you get to name one of the rabbits. That's a given. No matter who wins, one of your prizes is you get to name and symbolically adopt a rabbit. And if you want it when I retire it from breeding, it's all yours as a pet. Obviously, you'll either need to come get it, or I can meet you. The other thing I was thinking about giving away was just like a prepper goodie bag. I'm just going to get a box and put a lot of things that preppers forget to prep. You know, the oddball things that people go, man, I wish I had one of those, or man, I wish I had one of those, and just kind of like a goodie bag. The other thing I was thinking about doing, which I think probably people are going to lean towards, is whoever the winner is, just email me your phone number, and I will do like a video call, like FaceTime, or we can even do a StreamYard live stream, just you and I, whoever the winner is, and I'll give you, an hour or 2 hours of my time, and you can just grill my brain. I'll walk you through everything, all my preps, let you know how I did it, when I did it, why I did it, and you can do anything from security. Basically, you can just ask me anything, and I'll be like a little ghost on your shoulder, giving you, my input versus your input, and we kind of meet in the middle, and just random stuff. Yeah.
Well, what if one of the ladies would like for you to do a twerking video for them?
I do not twerk. That's one thing about my shows. I'm not going to do politics crazy. I'm not going to go crazy on religion, and I will not be twerking. Those are right now. Those are 3 of my commandments. You've got channels dedicated to that.
I couldn't resist that one, man.
There will be no doomsday twerking on this channel.
Jeez.
This is a twerk free zone, definitely. So yeah, and I may add some more stuff to the prizes. I'm not really sure. I want to get a little bit creative, but all right, if you guys are ready, I'm gonna shake it up real good. And Soraya majority, she's definitely got the odds in her favor with 9 submissions. But you know what? Odds don't really mean a whole lot. All right, here we go. Not looking. Stir them up real good. Give me one piece of paper. Is that one? Yes, that's one. And wow, would you look at that? Somebody won, and they only submitted 1 scenario.
Cool. Zane, all right.
Hey, Zane is the winner. Zane, if you will send me an email, or I'll reach out to you. If you're not, obviously, if you don't see it in the chat, I'll reach out to you, and we'll organize and figure out what to do it, and just go from there. But is she?
Yeah, she's here.
Congratulations, Zane. You are the winner. And don't feel bad, Soraya majority. you're going to get a little bit of something too, because you invested, I'm going to say you invested hours of your time coming up with 9 specific, completely original scenarios. So you're going to get something just for investing the time and doing that, because that helps our channel out a lot. I mean, you gave us a lot of content. Yeah, definitely go buy a lottery ticket. You are the winner. Ta-da.
Awesome.
Yeah, awesome. Congratulations. But here's the thing, guys. Keep sending them in. Keep sending them in. We'll do another drawing when we get to, I don't know, when I get to, we'll figure something out. We'll do another drawing. You know, I'm not going to give away a car or anything. I'm not Oprah, but, you know,
you get a car. You get a car.
Everybody gets a car. Did you watch that episode? She literally gave everybody in the audience a car.
Right.
It was a crappy car. It was that Pontiac G6, but still it was free, except for the taxes. Okay, guys, let's get down to business. What we're going to do tonight, since we have so many scenarios and I don't want people having to wait, you know, I mean, legit, if we just did one a week, we've got about 6 months worth of scenarios, and I don't want somebody to have to wait 6 months to get a reply, you know, when they send it in. So what we're going to do is starting tonight, we're going to do 2 a night. We're going to do 2 a week on Sundays and until we start running low on scenarios. And then you guys are just going to have to send in some more, get creative, and, you know, aliens, whatever. I don't care. We'll figure something out. The 2 we had tonight are really good and really they're completely different from each other, but they both have really good real world applications that have something that could actually happen. Like completely, I could see both of these scenarios really happening to pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go with the first one. Okay. Okay, here we go. It's a lot of words. All right. Hope you're doing good. Would love to hear your thoughts on my scenario. We plan to stay put. It would be me, my husband, and our young child. Most of our family also lives in the same city. If shit were to hit the fan, the population of our city is roughly 35,000 people, and her city is roughly 30 minutes from a major city. We live fairly close to a huge neighborhood, but where I'm located, we are close to a stream, a lake, and a wooded area. We have come to know pretty much all of our neighbors and definitely try to keep an eye out for each other. So I feel that I would be safe where I'm at. I have a pretty good supply of food, and we will be also doing a garden. For water purification, we have a Berkey, a Sawyer Mini, and a couple bottles of water purification tablets. Also working on a rain catchment system. Awesome. I'm feeling like I'm on the right track to bug in. Now, this is where it gets tricky. If we do have to bug out, we have 2 bug out locations. Our first choice is fairly close. It is on roughly 10 acres. It is on the outskirts of town. The property is partially fenced in with a gate and a clearing around the house so we can see what's coming. At this location, we will be meeting up with at least 15 other people. There is a creek nearby, but would definitely need to find an optional water source. There's also a place for a garden, which I'll be establishing this summer at that location. Woods surround the outer perimeter of the property, but the back of the property backs up to a major interstate. This is where it gets scary for me. How could we protect the property and keep someone from stealing our supplies? Or should we just plan to bug out to our second location, which is roughly 2 hours away from us, and we would have to travel on a main interstate for a bit or a major highway to get to the back roads? We would need to travel. This property would be considered farmland. I know this is a super long one, but I just wanted to lay it out there and get your thoughts on anything I can do to improve our chances of staying safe. Thanks so much for all you're doing. You can label me as a cupcake prepper. If I need you more details on this, I will. Please let me know. Okay, yeah, this is a good one. It's very detailed. Your first scenario obviously is bugging in at your location that you're at now. You've networked with your neighbors. That's good. My only issue with it is that the town you live in has 35,000 people in it, and you're close to a major city. So if you're saying a major city from a 35,000, you're probably looking at 150, 200, maybe 300,000 people in the major city. So that's definitely a potential issue, but you are set as far as bugging in goes. You've got plenty of water, you've got plenty of purification, you've got access to fresh water, you're doing a water catchment, which is awesome. You've got food put up, you've got the preps, you're doing a garden, which is awesome. So obviously bugging in would be, for me, an optimal choice. If you did have to bug out to your second location, the second location sounds amazing, except for being backed up to a major highway. My question to that would be, like, when you say backed up to a highway, is there cover between you and the highway? Is there woods? Is there a fence? Or is it just wide open? You can see the cars and they can see your house. That would be bad. The second location is obviously further away. You gotta jump through some hoops to get there. But I think your brain is working correct. You plan on bugging in. That's obviously the most secure location that you have. Location 2 sounds really, really good. I mean, if you could just focus on security from the highway, because the thing is, a lot of people, if they're walking down the highway or even driving, if there's like a massive horde, if they don't know your house is there, if they can't see it, then you're good. So if you can either, if it is hopefully disguised from the highway, because a lot of building codes, they have to, when they do the highways, they have to put like a sound wall up, or, most things are like 30 feet tall, or they have to put a fence or something like that to keep wildlife off the street. So that your bug out location, your first one, might not be a very bad option if you can secure that one weak spot, which is the highway access. What do you think there, Backwoods?
Yeah, I have a big problem with the 35,000 people, even if it's your primary bug in location. I don't know that. I think that if I lived, my personal opinion, if I lived somewhere at a town that had 35,000 people in a city, and then had a bigger major city just right there, my personal opinion, that's I'm not bugging in there. I'm bugging out. That's the first thing for me, because that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people. I understand there's a lot of resources, but there's also a lot of people. And any major city, any major town, whatever you want to call it, only still has 3 to 5 days of food and water, because of this on-time delivery service. This goes not just to the small towns, but it goes to the big cities as well. That's how come the bigger cities are so busy. That's why you see so many delivery trucks, because they're constantly delivering.
Yeah.
And during a bad situation, a shift situation, delivery trucks stop. 3 to 5 days, people are going to, realize there's no more food. People at best in a lot of major cities only have about 4 or 5 days of food stocked up, because they're, most of them live in apartments, things like these. There's a lot of this type of stuff there. So you're probably going to start to, within 2 weeks, I'm going to say you're probably going to start to see a lot of people showing up that you're going to have to make some decisions that you're probably not going to want to have to deal with. That's my first thoughts on living next to a major city. If I had 2 other locations, my focus would be on bugging out and probably trying to acquire some type of container. They have them big shipping containers, things like that. I would be trying to focus on something that I could put on that property, and I know you can still break into stuff. I get it. I understand that. But I would at least be trying to look at acquiring some type of trailer for my property that I'm at now, and have my preps set up. If you don't want to store them somewhere else, because the security is a big risk. You know, people steal it if you're not there. You know, so I would have my preps set up to where I could quickly move my preps into the trailer and get gone.
Yeah. And now the her first bug out location to me sounds very tenable. The only issue is going to be the highway. And in my mind, I think the highway is going to be super, super crowded. It's going to be a main artery. But I think that if the balloons really go all the way up and, you know, there's rioting and people are doing bad things to other people, I think real quickly people are going to learn to stay the hell off the highways. So it may not be that big of an issue. I would definitely try to fence it off right now. Matter of fact, you could get those trees. What are they called, man? They grow 3 to 5 feet a year, and people literally make fences out of these trees. I'm thinking about doing some on my yard. I can't remember what they're called, but there's a website you can go to that's I think it's fastgrowingtrees.com or something like that. And there are these super thick trees that you can't even see through that grow 3 to 5 feet a year. I mean, so that would be awesome. I mean, you could plant those things 2 feet apart and you got a fence and people can't see. Um, but I would definitely look into putting up some kind of a barricades or you know, barbed wire, maybe even putting a little bit of juice to the fence. You know, definitely post some signs. Trespassers will be shot on site, no questions asked. You know, and if worse comes to worse, and you actually have to do that, you know, that's a permanent sign, you know, laying there in the yard. But I'm kind of with you, man. That 35,000 people's kind of got me freaked out. That's a lot of people, and you're close to another major city, you know, less than a half hour away. Um,
Yeah, we'll see and they also, you know, she talks about they, yeah. Let's see. She talks about that they have
You're gonna have 15 more people there with you too, so you got plenty of people to pull security.
they yeah, you've got some security there, but you know, and I understand you live close to a stream, a lake, and a wooded area. The problem with it is that, you know, you don't see, and I've mentioned this before, if you're getting your water from a stream, you need to have someone that when you're going to get your water from the stream, you need to have someone that is a good woodsman, a good sneaky person, to go upstream for a good ways and make sure that nobody is, you know, there's not dead people laying in the stream, there's not, you know, somebody that's, you know, because it's a shift situation, you're having to get water from a stream, then that means that the water's out and somebody's not dumping, you know, got a sewer pipe run down to the stream and sitting there, you know, 75 yards up from where you're trying to gather your water, they're dumping their crap in the water. You know,
Yeah,
you just um and with that many people, 35,000 people, man, that's just it to me. My thoughts on that would, if I had two other places, I would be prepared to bug out. That would
yeah.
be my number one plan, was bugging out.
You know, my
Um,
only caveat to that would be like if where you live now, if you were wired in tight with several of the neighbors and you had your own mag in your own neighborhood, maybe you guys could put something together, but that's still 35,000 people you got to deal with. So yeah, I'm kind of I would be doing everything I could because bug out location one sounds better than bug out location two. The only main issue is the highway. I would address that situation and plan on just getting out there. And if you don't have a structure, by structure I mean a house, if it's just raw land with a clearing and stuff, maybe a barn or whatever, then you could go out there right now, you know, with an attitude, a couple of people helping some of those 15 people that'll be showing up and a whole bunch of shovels. And you can go ahead and you can cache a lot of your stuff right now, you know, to where it's already there and it's safe. It's out of sight, out of mind, to where if you do got to go there and set up camp, you can go quickly without having to try to transport a lot of this stuff.
yeah. The 2 hours away from us, and we would have to travel on a main interstate for a bit or a major highway.
Yeah, I ain't doing that. Unless you got ESP and you know you've got like a 12-hour warning to get the hell out of town. If you wake up and go, I need to be gone today, then and you can do the highways without issue, cool. But afterwards, I wouldn't touch a highway for nothing.
Right. Well, there's not really a lot of information on the third one. It's just saying it would be considered farming.
Yeah.
My first thoughts on that of having the two, and I know I see where they're talking about putting a water catchment up on the one property, but I would go ahead and put water catchment onto the second one,
Yeah,
just in
definitely.
case your first option, your first bug out location is compromised and you have to leave there once again. You already have some water storage at the other place,
Yeah.
and once you have a good source of water to get yourself started with, and that's when you can start to do other things to collect water. I would really be interested in, because a lot of farmlands have ponds on them.
Yeah.
And I would really be interested in what she's calling farmland, and what's the layout of it. Is it one of them ones that there's several hundred acres of just cleared stuff, which and maybe there's a little patch of woods here and there, maybe there's a little patch of woods around the homestead, because that would be a more ideal thing, because for someone to get across a big open field to come at you,
Yeah.
would, I mean,
It's
you can reach out and say hello from long distance, if you know
yeah,
what I mean.
can definitely change minds. And it does say right here, first bug out, that there's a house, and the house, there's a fence and things surrounding the house.
Right.
Yeah. So, hey, Mad Shad, what's going on, brother? I think I would put probably. I think I would shift about 90% of my energy into that bug out location number one, because it sounds like it's going to be way more tenable than where you're at, and it's not as treacherous as having to go 2 hours on the highway to get to bug out location number two. So I would shift focus to bug out location number one.
Yeah, and I would definitely, check into them trees you were talking about, and I would definitely check into briar bushes,
Yeah, I mean,
sticker
people are
bushes.
lazy. People are lazy. You could just get a whole bunch of damn field dirt dump trucks. You could bring in several yards of dump trucks and just make you an earthen mound to where people on the highway can't see past the dirt, because they're lazy. They're not going to want to climb up over that, especially if you're already walking. I would do anything you could. I mean, yeah, briars, bushes, anything to tangle the feet up, anything to make it uncomfortable to walk through there.
Yeah, I would definitely, invest in. I mean, because you can go out into the woods. If you've got this other property, you probably you can even go out into the woods and find these briar bushes and things like that, wild roses, stuff like that. And I would load that backside up near that highway, that interstate, that major interstate. I would load it up. I would make it to where, like you said, I mean, it's just about impossible to even pass through it. And people get to looking and they're like, God dang, that's thick. Um, you know, I mean, as me as a hunter, I mean, if I see a patch that's real thick versus a patch over here that's not so thick, I'm going to go around. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to go through that thick patch, and then, but at the same time, if you see this thick briared up woods, you're probably not even going to look and try to figure out how to get back in there, because you're going to be like, man, that's just a big old bunch of thick
Yeah.
woods.
Another option too is bamboo. That stuff grows like weeds, and I mean, you can plant it thick, and it's almost impenetrable. I mean, bamboo it grows like a weed. That would make an awesome natural fence.
Yep, yucca plants too. Mad Chad said, and
Yeah.
yeah, them
Plus,
things.
bamboo has a very valuable prepper uses. I mean, you can do a lot with bamboo. I mean, you can make water catchment with bamboo. You can make cups and bowls and eating utensils, and you can do a whole lot with bamboo. It's a real good building material, and
Yeah,
it
you can.
grows super fast.
I mean, you can even use it for roofing. You know.
Yeah, yeah, it's a real good building material. It works for all kinds of stuff. That's
Yeah.
honestly, if it was me, I would do that. I would do the bamboo. I would do some of those fast growing trees, and I would transplant. I would go into the woods and I would transplant as many briars, sticker, berry bushes I could possibly find. As many hostile plants as I could find, I would transplant them onto that property and just
Well,
make it.
and that's another reason why I did say blackberries, because you can still always go back there and gather the blackberries, and it's a resource. It's a natural, good resource. You know, it's good for you. So
Yeah, I mean that's I honestly, out of all three of your options, if things look like they're getting bad at your house, you know, I just keep seeing that number 35,000. That's just I'm out of
yeah,
there. I would
yeah.
focus. Yeah,
I'm not hanging around.
yeah, that ain't that. I don't see a good ending to that scenario.
No, even with 15 people, I mean, 35,000 people, you get a horde of 1,000 people that, you know, starts coming your way. I mean, 15 people, it's hard to, especially if several of them people in that, even a hundred, that start going out, and, they've got weaponry. You can't know that they don't have weaponry, and now,
Right.
it's 100 versus 15, you're not going to fare well.
Yeah, I think we're pretty much in agreement. Bug out location number one is where that's where I'm going. Yeah, I'm gonna figure the highway part out. I'm gonna make that work. I'll definitely make that work.
Yeah, because there's a place for a garden.
Hmm. There is a water source, but you've got plenty of
Water
room to do your water catchment.
and water. You can do the water catchment. Depending on how far away the creek is, just says the creek is nearby. Depending on how far away the creek is, and if you can, especially if it's a shift situation, you find an abandoned house and you start getting some pipe, and you can build one of them water pump. It's like a manual. I keep forgetting the name of it, but it's not a gasifer. A gasifer is for wood to make fuel with, but it is a pump system that once you get it started, as long as you're running your pipe upstream to where the water is running down into it, that thing will sit there and pump until it quits. I mean, until the water quits, and it can pump water up to your house.
If you've got some spare PVC laying around and you've got the time to do it, you could go upstream and just make sure that the house that you're in is downstream, and you could just run you a line. You could put a filter over the front of it, and you could just run you an open PVC pipe from that to your house and have it gravity force to your house. Just put you a ram pump. Ram pumps are badass.
Ram pump, yes.
Yeah, but you could just run you a line and run a ball valve on it, and you're good.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
I
I'm
mean,
definitely in agreement.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it's for me. I would probably be focusing a lot of my attention onto that first bug out location.
Yeah.
The rain catchment system. You've got a creek nearby. The major interstate. Like I said, there's ways to defend against that. Setting up a lot of berry bushes, things like that. Just let it grow. Just let it grow as wild as it grows. Just let it. You don't have to do anything to it. Just let it grow.
Yeah. And another thing too. I mean, if the shit really has hit the fan and everything's shut down, you're gonna have a lot of abandoned vehicles on that highway that you can just get a little bit of people power behind it, and you can pretty much make you a little bit of a barrier there, so to speak, and just turn that whole side of the highway there in front of your opening to your place, turn it into a junkyard.
Yep.
And just make it a pain in the ass for somebody to crawl through it. Yeah, people are still probably going to try, but make it hard. people are lazy. People are lazy. You know, we're gonna try to take the easy way. But yeah, I'm in
Well,
agreement. You know, I'm going with
you have
bug out one.
well, you have to understand too, though, that people are lazy now, but when that belly gets to kicking that backbone, you know,
Yeah,
they start to get a little more resourceful, you know. So you have to take that into consideration, especially if they've got hungry kids. You know, you have to take this stuff into consideration. So you know that is one problem there. But as far as it goes for everything else, I mean, it would I think it would be a whole lot easier to defend with less people.
yeah,
You know, than the second or the first bug out location would be a whole lot easier to
yeah,
defend even with less people than having 35,000 people around you plus
yeah.
a major city at your back door. I mean,
Well, the way
I
she
just,
said it set up, I mean, the only the likely avenue of approach, like Matt Chad's talking about, is that opening towards the highway, if it is an opening, you know. But it also serves a positive aspect, because now you've got them kind of in a bottleneck. You know where they're going to be coming from, so you can focus a lot of your energy in that direction. But I would get pre-active on the situation and go ahead and try to figure a way to block that thing off. You know, yeah, those trees grow 3 to 5 years. Well, maybe we ain't got that much time, 3 to 5 foot a year. Maybe we ain't got that much time to get that much growth out of them. You know, maybe
right.
we may be talking weeks or months or even days from now. But I would, even if it's wide open to the highway, you know, and you don't have the time to make it untenable, then just put your security there. I mean, if people see people falling for no reason, there's a loud cracking noise, they're gonna think twice about going there, you know, unless they have a way to plant seeds as well, you know. But my honest opinion on it, if they're ambling up and down the highway, they're not prepared in the first place. So pretty
Right.
much it's just numbers that they have in their favor. But yeah, just make it cost more than it's worth to turn left off the highway to come to your place is what I would say. Just make it cost more than it's worth, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure. And everybody make sure that y'all understand, you know, as we're giving our answers to this scenario, the thing we got to understand is that nothing is perfect. There is no perfect plan. For when shift happens, there is no perfect plan. And in fact, a lot of your plans that you have are probably not going to work out for you.
Yep.
So you're going to have to do the whole adapt and overcome. And this is why you need to be why I keep talking about even preparing your mind, you know, because you know, and learning everything that you can and practicing everything that you can, because you know that plan of, hey, I'm just going to do this, I'm going to throw this little perimeter up right here and I'm good, that may not work out that way for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So
agree.
you know, we all got to understand that.
Agreed.
Hey, Ark,
And
Wild.
so, anybody got any mission specific questions for this scenario from the chat? I mean, if not, we can move on to scenario number two.
Yeah, and like Hammer says, rolls of barbed wire, you know, there's going to be abandoned places. I hate to say it like this, but it ain't going to take long after SHTF that a lot of people are going to die, and a lot of people are going to start dying quickly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, you have to understand once they run out of food, and if they can't get clean water, the first time they drink some bad water, it's going to make them sick, and they're probably not going to be able to get the medication they need, and they're probably going to
Right.
die.
Right.
So you're going to have to understand there's going to be a lot of things around that are abandoned. So there are going to be access to things like barbed wire. You know, there a lot of this stuff you got to understand. People are going to be doing looting and things like that, but they're going to be worried about Nike tennis shoes and, you know, a big screen TV, even though the power is out. And you know, the whole thing of they're going to be trying to get that food and all that, and people like us, if we go down and do some looting, I'm going to be looting stuff like barbed wire and at the hardware store. I'm going to be hitting these storage buildings, things like that. I'm not going to be worrying about, tennis shoes and all that. I got plenty of boots and things like that.
I mean, and think about it too. There's simple little things you can do. You ain't got to, like, your security doesn't have to be deadly. It can just be a pain in the ass to slow people down, to slow the rate of them coming onto the property, to piss them off, and basically just deny them ground. I mean, you can go spend $50 on fishing line, some good fishing line, and just go in the woods and spend several hours just weaving that shit around random trees, all back and forth. Make it almost like a spider web. If somebody's running through the woods, they're gonna get fucked up quick, because that fishing line ain't no joke. And you can just run that back and forth from tree to tree all around your property, right behind or even in front of the fence, or make it part of the fence. And fishing line, especially if you do that and if you accidentally tie hooks onto it, if you accidentally, have those little barbs on there, I'm not coming. I'm going to hear the first person yell, and I'm like, I'm not doing that. I don't have any means of cutting this stuff because I'm not prepared, so I mean, if you mix a fence in with some gnarly old deadfall trees, like Mad Chad says, some boogered up fishing line, random things that just annoy the shit out of people every day generally, and get creative with it, you can do a lot of attitude adjustment with that.
Yeah, there's a lot of things, deadfalls. It's not hard to set up deadfalls, man. Set up deadfalls everywhere, so when they start to walk through one deadfall and they catch it, and they get out of the way, and they're like, man, I'm trying to get out of here, and they try to run, and they run right into another deadfall, or dig holes in the woods. Just go out there and dig a freaking hole, and you don't even have to put nothing sharp in the bottom of it. Just dig a big freaking hole, and make somebody fall in it. It's going to hurt. It's going to jack them up, and they're going to be like, my gosh, man, what in the world is, what all's in here? This place is booby trapped like crazy. I'm getting out of here, I
mean, there's a reason why moats were so effective back in the day. They're a pain in the ass to get through that dirty ass water, and you never knew what was underneath the water. It's, people are going to shy away from the unknown, especially things like that.
Yeah.
I hear you, tennis tactical. That's what I'm talking about. You might accidentally leave something on there from the last time you went fishing.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, there's a lot of things like that you can do.
Yeah.
To make
it. We're gonna try not to get into the maiming, death part of the conversation, simply because. No, I'm just making a general. Everybody's getting creative, and I'm like, cool, those are great ideas, but we're not going to say it word for word what you're typing, just because there might be an issue down the road.
Right.
But you just want to deny the area.
Just make it uncomfortable. That's all. That's what you're trying to do. Discourage, people.
Right, you about ready to go into the second one?
Sure.
All right, guys, this is scenario number 2 coming up. And this one's going to tug on some people's heartstrings and all that good stuff. This is this one, that previous one was sent in by Cupcake. This one is sent in by WNC 103, and this one's going to hurt some people's feelings. But it's a lot of thought went into this, and this is a very, very real possibility to just about every mag out there, okay? Or every group. Okay. The balloon has gone up. There is a complete breakdown of society, no grid, and it has been about 2 months since it all went bad. No real government, world without the rule of law. And it is pretty much just you and who all you are working with locally as a mag. Things are rough, but you have food and a way to provide food for yourself, your family, and those in your already established mag, and or those you've taken on that have been pretty well vetted and willing to do the work to make it work. You're making it work. A family shows up. All right, so before we get to the family, so basically there's an established mag. It's been 2 months since everything went to crazy. but they're a functioning unit. They're eating, they have water, they have preps, they're providing, they're able to function. Okay. Now a family shows up, ragged and having made it out of the city to seek a way to survive. There is a husband, a wife, and 2 kids. You can feasibly take them on if you expand the garden and possibly ration more. And you want them because the husband has some serious medical skills. And you have some members in your mag or family that could really benefit from his knowledge and abilities. The problem is that the wife is having a serious mental breakdown. She never imagined having to deal with hunger or a lack of luxury and has completely lost it. Even with the relative ease your group provides as opposed to the hell they've just gone through, she was used to having the silver spoon and refuses to admit life may never be the same. Constant complaining, pushback, and difficulty arise from the family members of this doctor/medic, and even though he tries to make it work, it is causing some serious group issues. The wife has repeatedly dropped the ball with any responsibility given to her, resulting in wasted resources regarding food, and is caught using up medical resources like alcohol and medication, and those morale resources like chocolate and munchies food kept in reserve for the really crappy days when morale just needs a boost. The group hates her and wants her gone, but the husband loves her. Why? Who the heck knows? And says if she goes, he goes. What would you do? Because I honestly wouldn't know what to do in that situation. You need the guy because he's a doctor, obviously, but it's causing some huge issues in the group. Thanks from the milkmaid. Uh, this is an awesome, bottom line, awesome scenario. It's realistic. It can legitimately happen. It legitimately, I guarantee it, it will happen. Uh, this is as real as it gets. You want to take it on first, Backwoods?
Yeah. So I'm gonna tell you right now. The very first thing that everybody needs to understand is that problems in your mag are going to be enough as it is without bringing on people that are causing more problems. It's going to already be a stressful situation, already going to be to where you're basically going to have to be working at keeping the problems down anyway. You're in a stressful situation. People are tired. People are nervous. It'll be a night when you've got some guards out there. You hear some gunshots off in the distance. I guarantee you, everybody's going to wake up. You know, everybody's going to kind of freak out a little bit. You know, you're going to be awake 2 or 3 extra hours, so you're not going to get the sleep that you normally. So, you know, there's a lot of things to automatically consider in that aspect that there's already going to be problems in a mag. Now, boy, I know I'm fixing to catch hell.
That's why I'm letting you go first.
I know. I would love to have the resource of a great medical doctor, but in a mag, you should already have somebody that has some type of experience in the medical field, which you know most do, of some type of medical wiping. You're already going to have to ration out more food. You know, you're going to have to ration your food more. I'm gonna say if you've got a mag that's already well established, the people that come into a mag after said fact, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have some rules and regulations set up that them people don't get to see your resources. They do not get to see where any of the stuff is because of the problems just like that, to where, you know, repeatedly dropping the ball, and her wasting resources regarding food, and it's caught using up medicinal resources like alcohol and medication. Just because she thinks she's got a little bit of a headache, she needs some aspirin, every night and things like that. Yeah, they don't get to. A mag should not just have an open storage area, to where anybody can just go in there at any time, because you do get things like that happen. So my very first thoughts, I'm gonna do it like this, so my very first thoughts is that you need to make sure that you have it set up to where they have limited duties. They get to eat, they get to sit at the table, but they are not allowed into the weapons, to the food distribution, the medical. They are not allowed into any of the storage facilities to see what you've got, because you don't know if these people are going to work out or not. You don't know anything about these people. You don't know if they're just what they say they are, or if they're a plant, to figure out what you've got. So that's my first thought on things, and that way that keeps me from answering the other part, that are saying the other part, which I will get to, but I'm gonna put it back onto you, Ghost. That is my first thoughts.
All right. Well, it's like this. I made you guys a promise when I first started doing this show and did my channel, that I was always going to do my best to be completely honest and upfront with you. And if I made a mistake or quoted something wrong, I would correct it and apologize.
Right.
In this situation, I'm going to apologize up front if I hurt anybody's feelings. But when you read this scenario, we're well over 2 months past a full-blown situation with absolutely no government, no law, no nothing. You got a community that's functioning, but it's basic. It's on the brink every single day. So now you got a family that shows up with a medically trained doctor, medic, so to speak, that you need. Now, the wife did all the crazy shit she did. They're a group, they're a couple, whatever. And now this situation blows up where she's stealing medication and food, and she's dropping the ball on everything. Bottom line, she's a weak link. Here's the thing. What I would have to do is meet with the other members, of basically the leading council, because there's going to be more than one person calling shots, I would assume. And I'm just going to put it like this. If we can't afford to lose him, then we figure out how to make it work. And by making it work means I'm going to chain that bitch to a fucking tree. Okay? I chain that bitch to a fucking tree, and I'm going to feed her, and he's going to keep doing what he does until she realizes what life is and how things work. Other than that, he can stay. But I'm going to chain that bitch to a tree right in the middle of town, wherever we're at. I'll give her an umbrella for the rain, but she wants to learn harsh. She didn't figure out what it was. I'm not going to compromise my group or my family members for some liberal that got lucky and married a doctor that we need. Okay. Now, if we can make it work without him, and we're confident that we can, then I pack him a lunch and point him down the road, let him go with her. But if he has to stay, fine. But I'm chaining that bitch to a tree. She's barking like a dog working security until informed otherwise. And the only reason that she's getting chained to a tree is because, it's his wife, so to speak. It is what it is. I'm not, it's 2 months after the balloon goes up. I'm not playing nice guy. We've all already done dumb shit by then. So, she doesn't get coddled, and tactical technician, there's probably a jail of some sort and all that good stuff. But no, she's stealing our food and our medication. I'm going to make an example out of her. I'm going to chain her to a fucking tree, period. He can go beside her if he wants to. I don't care.
Yeah, that's the whole thing, is that, there's going to have to be some rules and regulations, and it's going to have to, you're going to have to make sure that they understand these rules of when they come in. If one of them starts getting out of line, you're going to be basically putting time out, and then again, they're going to have to earn the trust of everyone before they get any kind of access to any supplies, period.
Yeah, and I see some comments in the chat, and they make sense. in a real soft world scenario. But keep in mind, this is a minimum of 60 days with no government, people dying in the streets, people murdering each other in the streets. And then she's going to compromise everything you've worked for in your family. It ain't going to happen. And I ain't going to feel bad doing
Right.
it.
Right. Well, that's what I'm getting at. The one thing you do have to take into consideration is if you are too inhumane, you may get the husband buck against you and refuse, and just say we're leaving,
Bye.
and now you've got a situation. If you allowed her and them access to the preps, now they know what you got. And they go to that next group over there and they're like, yeah, these jokers over here, they're sorry jokers. And, um, yada, yada. And they've got all this food store there and they've got this, they've got this, they've got this. So there's going to have to be really thought out, tactful ways to handle that situation to where everyone, like a timeout, kind of like, some type of a jail type thing is going to have to be set up to where, because, I saw that one live stream and they're talking about no rules and all this. You've got to have rules. You've got to have a leader. You've got to have the whole group as a whole, that votes on what to do, but you have to have someone that makes a final decision, that makes the ultimate decision, because you can get people, even in your mag, who understands what's going on and how bad things can be. They still, that sympathy, that heartstring gets to start getting pulled, and they may vote in a non-positive way that is what is best for the group, just because their heartstrings, are getting, what I'm saying? They're feeling sorry for this person. Right. And so they don't make a good decision on how to, right. Properly. So you've got to have someone who is a strong leader that says, this is the way we have to do it.
It would be different if this was like day 2, after the balloon went up. This is like over 2 months, and they've been living in the woods and on the run. If that woman, if that woman hasn't learned the value of life by then, living in the woods and on the street with nothing, then she ain't gonna learn. Best case scenario, without chaining her to the tree, you guys live outside the wire. Here's a tent. You live outside the wire. You can come inside during the day and do your doctor stuff. She don't set foot inside the wire. She stays in her little tent. She can learn what life's about. She can stay out there. You and the kids can come in. She can't. Period. It's that or the tree, or it's got to go. It's one. And here's the thing. If it was a couple days afterwards, there's time I would invest in maybe trying to rehabilitate and saying look and bringing her along slowly with the rest of the group.
Absolutely.
But after 2 months, if she ain't figured it out after 2 months, she ain't gonna. And I can't take the liability. You know what I mean?
Well, and that's the whole thing, is that's why I said, if the rule needs to be right off the bat that any new people that we decide to take in are not allowed to have access to any of the prep storage at all, period, for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
So that these problems can't happen. You don't go in there and go, wait a minute, we had 2 months worth of aspirin here, and now we only have a week's worth. What the hell's going on here? And now you're looking at everybody, funny, and trying to figure out, who stole what and where it's going. And you know what I mean? It's just, it could spiral downhill just that quick and that easy. So, maybe a tent just outside of the barrier, and just tell them, here's the way it is.
Even if you had like a structure inside the wire and you could basically put her on house arrest and secure her in there where she couldn't move, and her and her husband and her kids can live there, that's fine. She stays.
Right.
He can go hang out with her all night and rub the blisters on her wrist from the handcuffs or whatever. I don't care. But the thing is, we're kind of basically holding her hostage to keep him there, which is fine. He's alive. She's alive. They're happy to be there. But, after 2 months, if she ain't figured it out, number one, I don't think there's a man on the planet that can deal with that for 2 months, walking through the woods with 2 kids as well. He probably would take care of that problem before she ever got there. But yeah, I'm not feeling it. I would have patience for that.
Yeah, and it's really one of them things that, it makes you listen to that scenario. It's some things that I've kind of thought about before, but really sitting back and after I read that and thinking on it, and there's so much potential for a lot of bad things to happen, man. Like I said, you get one person in the mag that feels sorry for this woman, and maybe she, he or she starts going over and talking to the lady, a little bit at a time, just because they feel sorry for her. They talk to her through the window. Before you know, the lady's like, "I'm in such pain. Can you please just get me a couple of aspirins?" And maybe the person comes up and asks, and maybe the person feels sorry and tries to sneak a couple of aspirins. Now you've got a distrust in another mag member.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm not saying there's not a way back. She done all this stuff at the beginning. I'm not saying there's not a way back, but there's got to be some form of enforcement of the community rules, or the whole thing's going to fucking fall apart. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly.
I could feasibly see it working her way back to reality. But she still got to pay for what she did. You know what I mean? You can't just go in there. Number one, I should get my ass kicked for giving her access to the medical supplies and the food if right. I brought, you know what I mean? But that's the only weak area in the scenario is why did she even have access to it to begin with? That stuff would have been on lockdown from day one. Now, if it happened, if she came in the group and they've been a member of the group for a couple of months, and then all of a sudden, she went from good to crazy, that's a completely different issue, Yeah. But yeah, either way, it's still got to be dealt with, bro. It has to be.
Well, and that may be where you have some people in your group that, each night you have a meeting with this woman, and you talk about these things, and maybe try to talk her back to reality of silver spoons are gone. You're more than welcome to take off walking and go see if you can find something better. Go find your silver spoons. You're not going to find it, or else you wouldn't have made it this far.
Another thing is too, I could see putting her and him on the street, but I wouldn't put his kids out on the street. I'd tell them flat out, look, if you can't fix your wife's problem, then you and her are welcome to go. Option 1, she changes. Option 2, she leaves, you and the kids stay. Option 3, you and her go, but I'm not putting your kids out there in the middle of this bullshit. They deserve a better chance, so they can stay here. And that's going to make him have to choose between fixing what's wrong with her or, putting his kids, first. But then you run into the issue of maybe they make it to another camp down the road and they start ratting about what we got and what we don't got. But if we have their kids that are, happy and safe and fed, that may deter that a little bit. But bottom line, if she's that liberal in this new world, they're not going to, I don't see them even making it 2 months on their own to make it to our camp. And they must have had some kind of food saved up, or somebody felt bad for them just to even make it 2 months. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. It's really, these are things that I'm glad that we get these type of scenarios, before things do, balloon goes up, things pop off, whatever, because it really gives you an opportunity to really set back and start to think about some of this stuff. It's man, even trying to stand there and tell that man and that woman that we're keeping your kids.
That's the right thing to do in that situation.
Well,
so you're not taking this 8-year-old out there with you. It ain't gonna happen. You know what I mean?
I agree. But imagine you standing there with your wife and having a group of people tell you we're keeping your kids.
I can't imagine that, because my wife, if I had a wife, would not be fucking acting that way. I
Well,
cannot see myself in that scenario any way, shape, or form. Not without catching a charge for domestic violence, because I would have beat some sense in that woman, and I ain't never hit a woman in my life. But you're not going to
right.
jeopardize my kids' lives acting a fool, in a situation. You know,
Well, I
well,
mean, yeah, but again, you still have to take into the factor of this also. How many people did you train with, and when a firefight happens, you see people freeze up, people freak out, people do things that's not
yeah,
what you were trained to do, because,
yeah,
you know, the real life scenario, you can sit around and armchair quarterback this all day long about, yeah, if I seen this happen, I would do this. If boy something did, I would do this. But at that time, you know, when
yeah,
something bad happens, you really don't know how you're going to react
yeah.
if it's something that's never happened to you before.
Yeah, like if all this happened, everybody would be gathered in the courtyard. She would be sitting there. We basically have court, and everybody would be involved. And reality would set in. Hey, she stole food from you. She stole medication from your dying aunt or your uncle. She's a liability to this group. She's going to hear, I'm going to say it straight to her face, to everybody in the group, to her husband, and to her kids. I'm putting her on the carpet and calling her ass out. That's going to
Right,
be the either shit or get off the pot moment right there, right then and there. You know what I mean?
right. Well, that's the whole thing, that it's such a hard scenario because there has to be a set. Hang on a second, this camera keeps screwing up. There
It's
has to be. There it goes. There has to be I mean, you're going to have to understand there's got to be rules, and the rules are going to have to be followed. They're going to have to be set in place and agreed upon by everybody, and all the way down to discipline,
yeah,
for doing things, because they're just like now, they're, you know, that's what keeps people, you know, I know a lot of people generally are good, but there's also a lot of people who are generally bad. And certain situations can take and change a good person into a bad person. And we can argue about the logistics of all that. Well, I mean, maybe they were bad all along. Well, maybe they were, but maybe they weren't. Maybe just something changed.
yeah. I mean, and
Um,
to
I,
be honest with you, I know if I had a mag and I was in this situation, and I can probably speak for you on this too, Backwoods, the mentality of the people that are going to be able to function around me, our mentality is going to be pretty similar. So I
right,
can honestly say that with a 95% accuracy rate, that some unknown member in my mag is going to remedy this situation before I ever have to deal with it. Like there's going to be like-minded people that are going to go, nope, this bullshit ain't happening, and
right,
it's going to be remedied before. You know what I mean? It's just going to be taken,
right.
pull a Carol from Walking Dead, and just go ahead and fix the problem before it ever happens. You know what I mean? And then what do you do? Then that's a whole nother rules kind of situation. If it's the harsh dirt nap kind of thing, then what do you do? How do you enforce that, or do you enforce that? Because technically what they did was wrong, but technically what they did was 100% right for the group.
Right. Well, that's yeah, it's wow. Yeah, it's something you're going to just have to establish beforehand, and you're going to, this is why I talk about prepping your mind so much, because you can, you know, practicing your preps and practicing these things and getting these things established before is preparing your mind, because when you practice your preps, for instance, when you are preparing your mind when you practice your preps, because what you're doing is you're building that confidence that this works and this don't. You know what I'm saying? You can know for later on that I'm not even going to bother with that over there because it doesn't work.
Right.
This does work, and taking maybe even taking in some of some laws and stuff that we have established now, that do work, you know, because a lot of them don't work. But there are some laws that do work, you know, that we have on the books today, you know, and maybe taking a look at some of the laws that actually do work, and you know, some of the rules and things, you know, that you know works, and maybe working on getting them established in your mag now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's kind of like that episode of Jericho. Have you ever watched that TV show? It was on for 2 seasons, Jericho.
I watched it some, not a
I
lot.
loved it. But there was an episode where they went to the trading post trying to get a hard to find part. And at the trading post, all crimes were the death penalty. Bro, there was no crime. If everything's
Right.
punishable by death, bro, that's just, it's like that statement I made last week about, stopping people from texting and driving. Well, the first offense is 90 days in jail and $10,000 fine, not this $250 fine and get a lawyer. No,
Right.
no, no. 90 days in jail. I don't give a shit who you are. And like it starts like right now. Get out of the car, get in the back of the police car. Your 90 days starts right now, and you owe 10 grand. That's just the first offense. And watch how many people turn their phone off and put it in the trunk when they get in their car. But yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're bringing a new family into your group, there's going to be a heart-to-heart meeting at the beginning. There's going to be rules laid out, and if she did do this, then it would be a community event. It would be in front of her kids, in front of her husband. Here's your options: you can leave now, just you, your husband, and they can stay. You two can go, the kids can stay, or you can make a conscious decision to live a little bit longer and do what you're told to do and stop stealing from the group. You can reevaluate your wife and become an asset, or reevaluate your life and become an asset instead of a liability.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. The doctor, unfortunately, should be the one to lay the law down, basically, to her,
Yeah, he should be a man.
and say, look, we have come 2 months into this, and we have been through ragged hell getting here, and now we finally have an opportunity, and you're going to straighten your shit up. That's just the way it is. I've got 2 children sitting here. I know they're your children as well, but I have 2 children sitting here that I want to survive. I don't want to see them hungry any longer. I don't want to be sleeping in the woods like we were the other day, and hearing things around us and not know what's going on, and us, and it starts pouring down rain and we have no roof over our head. I mean, that's these are some of the things that he should be saying. And if not, a man like me or you could be standing there and telling him, hey, this is the way it is. This is the law here. This is the way it works. And you don't allow anyone into your community to start out with that ain't on a probation. They have no access to nothing. They don't have access to anything.
I mean, if it was like, and I won't call it simple, but say if all her issue was, she snagged some food, she wasn't, say if her job was laundry or something like that, and because everybody has a job to do. Say if she was supposedly doing this and she didn't show up, or she didn't do it, or she didn't do what she was supposed to do, and say she stole some food, or ate a Hershey bar when she wasn't supposed to. You know what? I could see people making, especially if you've been on the road for 2 months and you ain't seen none of that stuff. I could see the temptation. You know what I mean?
Right.
I could see the value in a second chance, and I could see holding court in front of everybody. And I could see if it was a little bit harsher, where she was stealing medical supplies and stuff like that, I could definitely see the value in chaining that bitch to a tree. But instead of a tree, maybe in the house, putting her on house arrest, where she can still be with her family and give her a chance to rehabilitate herself. But as far as having access to anything else other than air and the food and water that we provide, that's all she gets until it's time that the issue gets rectified.
Yeah, and I think like, you mentioned something about laundry. There's going to have to be someone doing laundry, and what you could do, put her on laundry detail, and you know what? You don't get to wash y'all's clothes until everybody else's is done.
Yeah,
Period.
that's a good point.
You don't get to wash you don't get to wash your clothes, and you your food gets served last if you don't do your
Yeah.
chores,
You
and
know,
you
and the
may
thing
not.
is, yeah, and the thing is too, in the scenario, everybody in the group hates her and they're fed up with this bitch. So you're at the point to where either she has to go or something has to change. You know what I'm saying? So that's the whole get me part, to where, chain the bitch to a tree or just send them on down the road. But here's the thing: after 2 months of dealing with a woman like that, I don't think I'd be like, safe travel, sweetheart. You had your chance. I'm staying here with the kids. You know what I mean? I'm done with it.
Right.
I begged you. They begged you. You've been threatened with your life, and you're still doing it. You got to go. Or there's always the tree and the chain. Yeah, I'm still going with that as my first option.
Well, and I think that, I mean, there's we know for sure you can go 5 days without food. You know what I'm saying? Maybe if they don't get a knock on the door that night, or when they get the knock on the door, they say, okay, well, here's the food that, for your two kids, we're going to bring your kids out here and allow your kids to eat. But you don't get no food. You don't get no food, and you do that for about 3 or 4 days, and that belly gets kicking that backbone. That changes minds.
Yeah.
Say, hey, all you got to do is just act right, do your
I mean,
chores.
if it's to the point to where everybody in the group hates this woman and your shit's coming unglued, they got to go.
Yeah.
They got to go. I mean, we're back to square one, but we were making it at square one. They got to go. I mean, hopefully you were smart enough to put somebody with this doctor where they could learn a little bit of stuff while he was there. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, they got to go. I mean, it's you got to choose your group over them, whether you lose him, her, and the kids or not. They got to go.
Yeah. If after if you, well, first off, okay, I'm gonna say it like this: if you've allowed it to get to the point to where everybody is pissed off, then that's your fault.
Yeah, you fucked up. It
That's
never
your
should have went that far.
Never should have went that far. This is something that we talked about before, about even establishing a mag that, you get two people butting heads on who wants to be the leader. That this can't happen. The problems need to be worked out now, and you have to have an established set of rules that we don't allow it to get that far. She comes in, she starts acting up right off the bat. I mean, you can do one warning, hey, you chill out, because like I said, the access to the supplies, I mean, that's a no-go for me.
Yeah, that never
You're not
should
getting
happen.
access. You're not getting access to the supplies for a while. We will make sure you get what you need, but you don't have access to it, and we do have guards at night. So
I've looked at it from both sides. That here's the thing. All right, say if hypothetically in this situation, I'm the alpha, I'm the guy in charge of the mag. There's still a committee. We still vote on things, but I'm the one calling the shots. And this situation happens. I don't have the luxury of being weak. You know what I'm saying? I can't.
right.
I don't see the value in a second chance right up front for something stupid. I see. I see. Now we're talking a true shift situation. No law, no government, no nothing. And there's other roving bands and other groups. By me letting her and him go, that's a security risk, bro. All right. So here's my final answer. The bitch is gonna change. All right. She's gonna figure it out because they're not leaving. They're not leaving. I mean, she's going to be fertilizer or she's going to produce for the group, one or the other, because I can't afford for them to leave at this point. You know what I'm saying? She's either working in the garden, or she's part of the garden. You feel me? Because they can't leave.
That's one of the reasons I said right at first, if you scoot them down the road, they just tell what you got inside your area.
Yeah.
They tell
I mean,
how you
like
work.
my first instance is just kick them out. But no, they've seen your stuff. They know how many people you have. They know what you got. Now they're a liability. Obviously, he wants to stay. I know the kids want to stay. She's the issue. Fix the fucking issue, and the problem goes away. So whether that's chaining her to a fucking tree, going back to I'm circling back to my first answer. That she can't leave because she's gonna rat everybody out. I mean, she's already proven that she's mentally unstable. She has nothing to lose. She's going to spill all the secrets. And now you want to talk about your mag being pissed at. You just got them into a civil war over some woman that you probably shouldn't have allowed in the first place.
Well,
So,
not to mention it at that point, someone in that condition mentally I could see them actually using the information to get themselves into another mag.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And that's a no-go. So she doesn't have an option. She's going to change. Let's just go ahead and put it right out there. Put it right out there. No, bitch, you are going to change. You don't know it yet. You are going to change. All right. Period. It is what it is. Yeah. He's gonna keep doing doctor stuff. I'm gonna keep feeding you, him, and the kids, but you're gonna change. Period. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. I don't want to hear no fucking whining. Shut up and do what you're told. It's that simple. And I'm gonna let you know, you can't leave because you're a security risk. So the only way you're leaving here is not the way you're gonna leave here. Yeah. I mean, it's when you throw the doctor and the kids in there, it makes it like a little bit more of a difficult choice, but the answer always comes back to the simplest choice. You brought them in, they know what you have. It'd be different if you never let them inside the wire and they couldn't see anything or get any intel. If they were in a tent in the wood line and you were throwing sandwiches over the fence, that's a completely different story. But yeah, I mean, people are a resource, but they're also a liability. It's up to you which direction that goes in. But like I said before, I'm pretty sure somebody in the mag already took care of the problem.
Mad chat. Yeah, you can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave.
Yeah.
But that's the whole thing about it is that, again, that's why the rules need to be established now, and these scenarios need to be really thought about. And then you also have to take into consideration that, when you're sitting here right now, it's real easy to go, well, I mean, man, you might just do it like this. You might just do it like that. 2 months in, you may be a whole lot different person.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it may be one of them hard shutdowns. If you're the alpha,
honestly,
I'm talking about like walking up, dirt floor nap right there on the spot.
Yeah, I'm going straight. I'm going straight Negan on that. I'm going straight Negan. I'm going to go Negan like a motherfucker right quick. And just deal with the problem. But for the sake of the kids and the doctor's morale, I would try not to go full Negan. You know what I mean? I would go like maybe 1/4 Negan and just shut it down. I mean, look at how well that iron to the face worked in Walking Dead. You got the iron, your whole life changed.
Yeah, that's
bug dude said pig food or plant food. That's a good one.
Compost
the
pile.
beatings will continue until morale improves. Yeah, I mean, you're talking 2 months into the world ending, bro. There are no, I mean, there isn't right and wrong. There's what you can and can't do, I mean, it's completely relative. Where are you at? Are you in a group? Does the group have, rules or things that you go by, things that you do? So yeah, that just ain't gonna fly with me. She's got to get fixed.
Being in that type of scenario and stuff, if you ain't got the cojones to stand up for yourself and your family and protect them, then you just sorry.
Well, we've already established that the doctor's a pussy, but he's a doctor and we need him. So somebody's got to, loan him a testicle from time to time to make the right decision and get shit done. We got to do what we got to do. Now, if we have another doctor, yeah.
You got a good medical personnel already in the mag. Yeah, it's a whole different scenario over again, because
then again, 2 doctors are better than 1. And if they're already in the perimeter, then they're not leaving the perimeter. I mean, it's just that simple. Right. Yeah, I can't afford that security risk. I can't do it. Well, tactical technician Dwight turned on Negan, but the main reason Dwight turned on Negan was because his wife left. Once his wife left, he didn't have a reason to be all full Negan anymore. Plus, Daryl snatched his ass up and almost put a bolt through his head.
Yeah.
you know, but but I'm just saying. I mean, look at how you can change somebody's mentality. He went from hating Negan to yes sir, no sir, whatever you want, sir. You can marry my wife. I'm still alive, and I appreciate it too. Going full the other direction because his wife wasn't in the picture.
Yeah, Demeter, that's the whole point is, I said that earlier that, people are already going to be in a elevated stress in 2 months into, total collapse, shit hits the fan.
Stephanie Joe Roundtree.
That you're already going to be, so everybody's stress level is already going to be high. That's why I was saying that you definitely need to, the minute that something like this starts to come in, you've got to rein it in right then, because you don't want a chance for there to be further problems with heartstrings being pulled, with with creating that division. It's got to be handled right away, bam, right now, done, over with, kind of thing.
I mean, it must be realistic too. Roll it all the way back to the very beginning. A family of 4 walks up to your gate and they're beat the fuck up and they need help. The attitude changing and the adjustment and everything starts right then, right there, before they even come through the gate. Everything changes right then. And you know what? They may not make it through the gate for a week or even 2 weeks. They may be, leaning against the mailbox for a while until we decide, and then we're only going to bring the kids in. Maybe the kid doctor, bring him in and feel him out a little bit. Do them one at a time. Separate them and really find out what's going on before you include them into the group. Because if she's this stupid, she's going to come day one leaning against the door, okay, on the fence. You're going to know that she's over the top, and you're going to be able to make a decision: is it worth it or not?
Yeah, that might be something too to look at in establishing, a mag, and you're going, because you're going to be setting up perimeters, you're going to be doing things like that, and it may be something to look at that you have, your perimeter, and just outside of a perimeter, you have a place that you could, if someone does come up, you can have a little camping section kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? A holding area, kind of like, and hey, you can go in here. You got a fence around you. You're going to be safe at night because we've got guards, but y'all are not coming inside here and seeing our layout. And if you get caught looking through the fence, you're going to get poked in your eye. You're going to get poked.
I'd put the blindfold on the doctor, bring him in during the day, bring him to the whatever doctoring area you got, feel him out, do the whole interviews. Definitely going to separate the kids, because you're going to get all the real intel you need from the kids, because they're going to fucking tell you everything. But the scenario is awesome, but it was like on a fast forward. Everything that could possibly go wrong with this woman did go wrong. In reality, I don't think it would ever make it that far, because 2 months into it, everybody's like, well, it's only 60 days. Let me take 60 days of drinking your own piss through a Berkey water filter and running out of food and having to deal with everybody else in the world losing their mind. After 60 days, you're not the same person you were. I mean, there's no telling. I mean, yeah, it's you're gonna learn.
In fact, if you don't believe it, go to the woods with nothing and stay there for 4 days. See what happens. 4 days.
But yeah, I mean, and here's the thing: those kids might not even be their kids. You know what I mean? Think about it. If you maybe, it could be a complete reversal. It could have been just him and her, and he's as uptight as she is, and they snatched up a couple of kids along the way to use them as a way to get in one place. And I mean, if they've made it 2 months, her being this mentally unstable, They've been hiding out somewhere. Maybe they're going from joint to joint, stealing, ratting them out to another, group or unit. So yeah, before they ever got it, man, it would take a lot for me to, if I'm in an established mag and it's safe and secure and we've got all the food that we need, we can produce more. I'm not wanting for anything, then it's gonna take a whole lot for them to come in the fence. Like I said, the doctor maybe to do doctoring, but just as far as opening the door and saying, "Come on in, y'all, the iced tea's on the porch," yeah, that ain't happening.
Yeah, that's kind of with me too. I mean, it's, we went through a little scenario a while back on prepping outside the box, about people coming up, and I said, I'd give them medication and send them down the road. It's but it's, boy, it's just, I don't know, it's hard.
And I just don't. I ain't seeing, man. Yeah, she's gonna change. She ain't got a choice. She's changing. She don't know it yet, but she's gonna change. Like, period. It's that simple. If they were inside the gate, if we played it out like the scenario says, if they were inside the gate and then she was breaking up and stealing shit and losing her money and had everybody in the mag losing it, look, we're already on edge. And she's already got everybody losing it. Look, I'm gagging that bitch. I'm chaining her to the tree or in a building, in her tent, wherever it is, to keep him doing what he's doing. And she's going to change because she's not leaving. I can't let her leave now. I can't. I physically, from a common sense standpoint, I cannot let her leave. That's risk to the entire group.
And that's why I brought that up earlier, about, them, sending them, letting them see everything and then letting them leave. I mean, that's why I was talking about that earlier, because now all that's a big security risk, because now they know everything inside. And that's another reason why I said, they know
everything, and they're pissed. Now they're mad at you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. And they're pissed,
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. So if you've got a group and you've got security and you're functional, and by functional I mean you can take care of yourself. You're producing enough food to make sure everybody's eating and everybody's got everything that they need to survive. I'm not letting anybody in my group. I'm not passing out a fucking Band-Aid over the fence. I'm telling everybody to keep walking. I'm not, if I'm self-sustainable, I'm not helping anybody. I know it might sound cruel, but every extra mouth you put into the machine brings down your self-sustainability. So unless it's something like, I've got a pregnant woman inside the wire and no doctor, and this guy happens to be a doctor, I hate to be cruel to you, but here's what I'm going to do. They can stay in the holding pen. The doctor's coming inside till the baby's born, and they can get on the fuck down the road, unless he is just unless he has completely won me over, and he's not leaving, period. But it's just going to depend on the situation, because every mouth you add is more work on everybody else. Especially kids, because they don't really do anything until they get old enough to where they can actually do something. Kids just eat food and complain, until they're about years old.
Well, depending on how old the kids are, that's another question right there. I mean, are they, 5, 6 years old? Are they 8 or 10? I mean, because, 6, 7-year-old kid can work in the garden,
Yeah.
They can do chores. They can, they can bring stuff back and forth, laundry, things like that. Kids can, they're not completely helpless, but,
look at it from a number standpoint. Say your mag consists of 16 people. All right, you've got 16 people, and now you're going to add this family of 4. You just increased your daily needs by 25%.
Yeah.
So if you're barely making it, by including them in your group, you just sentenced somebody to die, because now you don't have enough. So unless you can offset that by adding more to the garden, or doing something else to where you can make more, the numbers aren't there. I'm sorry, they just don't work. They can't stay.
Well, and when I started out prepping, I had a rule for a long time that if you don't bring something really valuable to the table, preps, things like that, you're not getting in.
Yeah.
Now, a doctor, I know, throwing the doctor situation in there, that is a very valuable prep or very, very valuable asset. But at the same time, they're looking at 3 extra miles, to have that doctor in there, and you're barely making it now. That's a decision you're going to have to make. Is it worth? How good of a doctor is he really? You don't really
Yeah.
know that this may be one of them quack doctors that knows a few big words, and he really ain't that
Yeah.
much of an asset.
And here's another option too, is say, hey, you know what? Here's a tent. Here's some spare sleeping bags. Here's a couple days worth of food and water to get you going. You can set up camp a quarter mile down the woods, down this way in the field. Uh, you can set up your own little group with your family. You can hunt, fish, plant stuff, start your own little community. We can trade back and forth, but I'm not losing any resources. If I need something medical, then I will pay you for that medical knowledge. I'll come on into camp, or I'll bring somebody to you. You fix them up. Hey, here's an apple. Hey, here's an orange. Hey, here's, a barter kind of thing. Set up a barter system where, but you got to produce your own stuff. You have to take care of your own. I'm not feeding your fucking family. Okay. Bottom line, you're a doctor. We need your knowledge so we can horse trade. But as far as taking care of your group, no, you're not part of my group. You can be the next neighborhood down is what you can be.
Well, and that's the whole thing, is that, again, letting them in or anything like that before you actually even find out what kind of doctor is he, just what kind of knowledge does he really have,
I'm saying, don't let him in. You bring the sick people to him and see if he can actually do something.
Well, he may have just been one of them crab doctors, when you got the crabs and things like that,
he could be nothing. We don't know. He could just say he's a doctor. But the thing is, I mean, what are you really going to have what kind of medical stuff are you really going to be? You're not going to have a fully functioning surgical wing, in your campsite. You may have some seriously kick-ass first aid kits and stuff like that, but it's not like he's going to be performing, open heart surgery or brain surgery, something like that. He's going to be setting bones, doing stitches, trying to make sure that the wounds aren't infected, which are things that, a decent medic with a paramedic and ambulance driver can do. But some of the harder stuff, yeah. But if you don't have the medication to fight off the infections and the possible diseases that come with it, you're really just you're spinning in a circle. So it comes back to me, it always comes back to the mouths, man. Do the math. We got 16 people. We're going to add 25% more to that. Fuck no. Keep walking. Set up your camp down the road if you want to. We can horse trade. We can do some bartering. If I have somebody that needs a bone set or something, I'll bring them outside the gate. You can come fix it, and here's an apple. But yeah, I don't see it working any other way, at all. But the thing is, you got to produce for your own family. I'm not giving you shit. You're not getting none of our stuff. It's our stuff, not your stuff. You're not part of the group.
Yeah, because that's another way to look at it too. Is who all contributed to what you've got already, and now you're going to have everybody give up a little bit more of their stuff for this, to have a doctor around. What if you don't need a doctor for anything for a couple of months?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But
what if your setup? I mean, what if your setup is? What if you're producing more food than you can eat? What if your garden's just banging? You've got a freshwater source. You've got plenty of seeds, plenty of freedom seeds. You've got everything. All of your. If in a perfect world, if you were good to go and you could spare extra.
Mm-hmm.
What would you do? Would you be like, maybe, or maybe not? Or would you just keep it all secure and try not to grow? Because people are a resource.
Yeah, but I keep saying, I've said it before, and I'm gonna keep saying this, man, that I don't.
That's why I'm saying talk to the kids. Make sure they're actually their kids, because if they are truly their kids, then they've got skin in the game. If they're truly their kids, they've got a little bit of skin in the game. So you could work that angle by, hey, you go 150 yards that way into a field. It's very secure. You've got a fresh water source right there. You can hunt, you can fish, take care of your own, and we'll see how this thing works out over the next 8, 9, 10 weeks or a month or whatever. But as far as opening the door and saying come on inside, I don't see it. And here's the thing, if he was by himself and it was just him and his old lady, I could see him bouncing from camp to camp, doing dumb shit. But if it's him and his wife and those are legit his 2 kids, I don't see him putting his kids in that kind of situation. So there may be a little bit of gray area there that you can work with.
But I've always said that. I've said this before on some live streams, and I catch hell off of it, and I have caught hell off of it before. But originally, and I still kind of have this thing. If I'm kicking it good here, you're not coming here. I mean, you're not coming here. I'm not allowing you into my house. I'm not allowing you to see what I've got. The only way you're going to get to any of my stuff is after you go over my dead body, and that's just the way it is. And I've said this multiple times, and I try to, when we do these scenarios, I try to give different concepts and different answers and different thoughts to it, because somebody may not want to have the mentality like this, because the whole thing about it is that there's people out there that, because I believe in God, there's people out there who go, well, what kind of Christian are you? Will you just turn people away like that? Well, there's always something to anything you say, and the real thing of it is you've got to make the own decision for yourself and for your family to start out. And if you have a mag group, then you have to all be on the same page and get that establishment now. This is why all this is so important, to talk about it and to think about this and to go over even these type of scenarios with your mag group and fill everybody out. Again, after shit hits the fan, people are going to change. There's going to be a change. It's going to be a mental toughness change. It's going to show the real tough ones and the ones who thought they were tough.
Yeah.
Because it's just like I've said, when I wear my Patriot 3%er brand, okay? It's like I said, everybody wants to be a patriot until it's time to do patriot shit. And then all of a sudden you see only 10 or 15 people fucking show up and you've got 200 in the group. There's a reason for this. And there's a reason for why you're going to see that it'll be time to do mag shit until, people all want to be involved in a mag till it's time to do the real things that are necessary to keep a mag and to keep yourself and the people in your group and to keep everybody safe and fed and everything. There's going to have to just be rules. There's going to have to be things that are going to have to be done, and not everybody's cut out for it. I'm just going to tell you, not everybody's cut out for it.
Well, it's like this. Here's the way I would look at the entire situation. All right, if I've got a mag and say there's 25 people in my mag, and we've got a secure area, it's fenced in, we've got a massive garden, we've got everything we need, and I've got 25 people in my mag, but I can logistically feed and take care of 50 people. Well, in an obvious real world scenario type situation, people are a resource. They are a number. They help out in security. So if I can feed and water and take care of 50 people and I've only got 25, then I'm going to actively try to grow my group, but I'm going to try to grow my group with the right people. If I can only feed 25 and I have 25, nobody's coming in. You can't operate outside your resources, outside your ability to feed and water everybody. But if you can grow your group to 50 and there's a group of 25 down the road and they want to be assholes, you're good. You know what I mean? So that's where the numbers come to play, but that's where you have to be really selective on who you let in. And that's where the whole they're in the holding pen. They got to work their way up to the table. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you can function with that many people effectively, now you're really strong.
Well, I'm just gonna tell you straight up that, it's like I said, you know, I'm not going to sit back and allow things to happen to my family bad and let us get overtaking or let bad stuff, go on and things like that just because, someone says, well, in the Bible it says that you should love one another. Yeah, well, I'm gonna show you what kind of love I got when you come screwing with my family.
Right.
I'm gonna show you where my real passion is, and that's putting a good old fashioned passionate ass whooping on you,
Yeah.
and it may not be the type of ass whooping you're looking for either. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When you start screwing with my family, and when SHTF happens, when that balloon goes up, and when things go bad, there ain't no law. There ain't no law coming to save you. You ain't calling the police. You're not calling. You're not going to call your preacher over there and say, hey, what should I do about this situation? You're going to have to learn how to be ready to react and be ready to go.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it is. You need to make that decision now, because if you want to make the decision to lay your life down, take the prepper out of your name, stop being a prepper, and just get ready to lay your life down. And that's just plain and simple. And I'm not laying my life down, and I'm damn sure not laying down my wife and kids' lives, over whatever. So the whole fact of it is that's the way it is.
Yeah. I mean, and there's no right or wrong answer to, I don't think, a lot of these scenarios we do. It's all relative. I mean, the woman's losing her mind. It is what it is. Deal with it. Deal with it the best way you know how. If you need a doctor, make it work. If you don't need a doctor, tell them to kick rocks. It's that simple. Now, if you can logistically, and if you have the resources to feed and take care of these people.
Yeah.
It's different if it was just a doctor by himself. That's a no-brainer. Bring him in, make him comfortable. Let's do the damn thing. We can figure out a way to feed one more person. But it's just the doctor, a useless wife, and 2 useless kids. And I don't mean that they're useless. But no, actually I do, because they're like, 4 or 5 years old. They can't do anything. All they do is complain, all right, along with the wife. So that one mouth turned into 4, and 3 of them are useless. They got to bring something to the table. So if he's a badass doctor and she's an awesome cook, and I can deal with feeding their kids for free because we're getting something out of the trade. You know what I mean? If he's the best doctor in the world, she's a bitch and the kids are worthless, I can still deal with it if I can afford to feed them without stressing my resources.
Well, that's the whole point of it right there. It's just what kind of resources do you have? If 2 months in, if it's looking like, y'all got a couple of years worth of resources, no problem. And with opportunity that you might can go and get more resources.
Yeah.
And maybe even, down the road, it looks like maybe things will start to kind of clear off and you know what I'm saying, kind of smooth out, and people will start doing that thing, because, the Walking Dead scenario, I've seen a lot of people, they've been talking about the Walking Dead, and some of it, yes, is good to watch and everything, but
like some of the life lessons are good. The realistic part of it's bullshit, but the life lessons are really good.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Basically, the whole thing of people, walking around as brain eating zombies, eating your flesh off and stuff. I don't know.
It's like everybody, when they talk about The Walking Dead, it's always Rick Grimes this and Daryl Dixon this and their awesomeness. Everybody forgets Herschel, the old man on the farm. People, think about what I'm fixing to tell you right now. If it wasn't for Herschel, there would have never been a season 3 of The Walking Dead because they'd all be fucking dead. Herschel saved everybody's life on multiple occasions, at the farm, on the road, at the prison, just by using his damn head. All right. He was an older guy with knowledge on how to, he's the one that showed him how to garden. He was the one that taught him the medical stuff. He was the one that taught him common sense shit, old school knowledge. Without him, there wouldn't be a Walking Dead. That show would have been, it never would have been a season 3. They would all be dead. And look at how fucked up it is now that they killed Herschel, which pisses me off. I loved him. And oh, hey, Jess is in here. Hey, Jess.
Hey, Keto, what's going on?
See you sneak in here.
But yeah, that's the whole thing about, you know, some of the moral choices. Yes, The Walking Dead helps out with. I watched The Walking Dead for years and stuff, and you know, it gave you a lot of things to think about. You know, things that can happen. You see different ways that, you know, things can go wrong. Things, you know, whatever. But you have to understand, you know, and I see a society breakdown of more of a, you know, financial collapse,
Right.
maybe a grid down type scenario. You know, we just saw the pipeline, you know, that got hacked. You know, there's right there shows that our infrastructure is vulnerable. You know, they get into the right place and send a power surge through and start blowing transformers up. You're looking at, you know, could be some years. I say, in fact, it could be some many years before you get power back. And the reason I say this, go look up the article about the Ford truck sitting at the Kentucky Speedway right now. And it's not just Fords, it's Chevrolets, it's all kinds of manufacturers. But they just particular done this one on all the Ford vehicles sitting there. Guess why they're sitting there?
Can't get them chips. They're just sitting there waiting.
The chips. Yep. They can't get the chips.
It's not just Ford. It's several manufacturers across the board. They've got vehicles that are just stacking up.
Yeah.
That's going to cause a shutdown. That's going to cause a shutdown at the plant because they only got so much storage room and they're losing money every day when they're just sitting there. So that's going to cause a shutdown at the plant. That's going to completely wreak havoc on the economy. You know, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if you're a Walking Dead fan, that's great. I watch Walking Dead. I love it simply because of the life lessons. And the coolest part about that show is I can watch it from beginning to end. I think I'm on like the 6th or 7th time from beginning to end. I catch something different. I learn something a little bit different. There's all these cool little nuances in there on what you should and shouldn't do, but the tactical part of it and the realistic into the world type shit is all bullshit. It's all about life lessons, which are really awesome. The mentality and the choices that you make and how they have repercussions are awesome. And for those of you that are hating on my man Negan, watch the very last episode of this past season that just came out a few weeks ago. It is honestly, in my opinion, just the best episode of the entire series. It does a deep dive into Negan before he was Negan and what happened to make him his switch flip. And you'll get it makes you go back and look at every single episode he was ever in, and you go, oh, all right, that makes sense now. That actually makes sense now. And it's kind of cool. There's a big debate in the comic book world that Negan is actually the good guy and Rick Grimes and his group were the bad guys. And if you look at it from that standpoint, you can go, wait a minute, this could legitimately make some sense here. I love Negan, man. People are a resource. Don't spoil it. I won't, but you need to go watch that episode, man. It was awesome. And here's the cool part. It was filmed during COVID. And because there was a lot of person-to-person contact, him having to interact with his wife, they actually casted his real-world wife in the show to be his on-TV wife so they could do the intimate kissing scenes and all that good stuff because it was done during COVID. And his wife's actually a pretty damn good actress.
Waterwell guy, I did notice that there was the Chevrolet lot was a little bit more empty, but I honestly, 2 days ago, I went out and went past there, and it'd been probably a week and a half since I'd been past that area. I don't go out much at all. I stay just right downtown. Is pretty much where I go. That's about it. I don't I don't go. I don't like Wally World. I do agree that in all honesty, they have the best prices, and we can play the whole game of, well, they're doing this and they're doing this woke thing, and so I'm not shopping there. But I don't know, man. If you want the best prices and you want the best bang for your buck, we're not talking about buying tennis shoes and some shirts and some coloring books. We're talking about buying supplies that are going to last you. um, it's we're talking about supplies for your family, for your longevity. So you want to go and get the best prices you can, because you get a can of, you go buy from somewhere else just because you're mad at Wally World, and it costs you 20 cents more a can. After a little bit, you're going to figure out real quick that, man, I could have had 10 more cans at the end of the month. But yeah, so I don't go I don't go up in that area very much.
Yeah, it's I mean, you can learn a lot of cool stuff from it, but it is what it is. It's still just a TV show. I mean, come on, it's ridiculous. Okay, all right. So the zombies, all they do is walk around and eat. Has anybody ever seen a zombie shitting? Where does it all go? They got to poop, right? I mean, even if it showed them from the back and they all got poopy pants stains, they just eat. They don't poop. They don't pee. What's going on?
I don't know.
I mean,
They
realistic.
Well, they probably don't, because they're steadily deteriorating, because they're actually dead. Their brain just didn't die.
All the dead flesh has got to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And I mean, why are they eating when they get their guts ripped out and there's like half of a body? Oh, and here's another one. When it's like half of a body and obviously the lungs aren't functioning, how the hell are they making groaning, growling noises? Just saying.
Yeah.
It goes right down their legs. Yeah, but yeah, as far as the scenario goes, yeah. The actual, if I go word for word from her scenario with no sideways stuff, go ahead, brother. Go ahead. You doing a drink? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
I know you can hear me.
Yep. All right.
If you're going word for word from the scenario, and it happened the way it did in the scenario, to where they're inside the wire, they're not leaving. So she's going to change, or she's going to have permanent jewelry that's going to keep her restricted to a 5-foot distance from her bed and a pot that she pees in. I'm not doing the whole execution type thing, that I'm not looking down that road. But what I'm saying is that they're not leaving because they're a security risk. He's a doctor. He's important, and we're feeding his family. So they're staying in. It's just that simple. She'll have weeks, months, years, maybe decades to correct the error in her her ability to function mentally. She'll have time to change. But as far as just cutting them loose, I don't see it happening. That's a security risk. It's just, yeah. So she's going to change, or she's just going to be permanent jewelry. She'll be a living example of what not to do, how not to act.
Hey, Arkansas Nanny, what's going on? Yeah, the
Democrats, so all the shit comes out their mouth. That's a good one, Waterwell.
Yeah, the whole thing about it is that the whole Walking Dead thing, it does lend, that's another reason why I watch things like that, The Walking Dead. I like to watch a lot of these. I don't watch The Naked and Afraid. That's just kind of weird. That's just really weird to me. But the rest of it, any of them kind of shows, where it's the Alaskan show, where they're out. I mean, if they don't kill food, if they don't get food up, they don't make it through the winter, type things. I mean, it's a lot of that stuff is very useful knowledge. Even in The Walking Dead, the different scenarios and things, it lends to thought process of, wow, man, that's something I need to think about, could happen. That's when it really boils down to it. We really just don't know what's going to happen, and we really are not 100% sure of how we're going to what.
I just want to make a statement real quick and before he
Okay.
leaves. All right, lost product. I ain't trying to call nobody out, but I just put your ass on timeout. I think you're an okay dude. We've had a couple of emails and a couple of conversations in other chats, but and I've listened to some of the yeah, fuck it. This is my channel. I've listened to some of the arrogant shit that comes out of your mouth and the way you talk to people and the way you try to communicate ineffectively. It ain't gonna fly in here. If you're gonna be rude, talking smack to people about that and using the kind of words that you're using, I swear to God, I wish you lived a little bit closer to me because I'd fix the problem right now. But yeah, you're on timeout for 5 minutes. So if you decide to go to another channel and harass other people, that's cool. But it ain't gonna fly in here like that. All right. I'm a big defender of freedom of speech and all that good stuff. But the internet warriors that like to talk smack and don't, and because they know there's nothing that nobody else can do about it, I got no tolerance for that. So just either grow up, act like a civilized human being, and help us have a decent conversation, or go fuck yourself. Have a nice day. I'm sorry, but that was just getting old, bro. That the way he's talking to people is, I'm done with that shit, man.
Right. And to so anyway, yeah, there's a lot of the good stuff that you can really learn from a lot of these shows. A lot of this kind of stuff you really need to pay attention to. It's one of them things, guys, where everything you can learn, even if you don't think that it's going to be useful, if it is a trick or something that you can do to that, if you think this only may be useful one time in my life, learn it. You know what I'm saying? I sit in here and read stuff all the time. I do like a lot of things. I do like, you know, preparing food, preparing water, getting water filtration, buying chickens. You feed them each day, make sure they got water. They pretty much take care of themselves otherwise. Just make sure, if you're going to free range them, you got a place to put them up, things like that. I mean, a lot of these little things, man, it's really easy. It's not hard at all. Okay. It's not hard to buy 2 or 3 extra cans of food, to do this.
And honestly, tactical technician, I didn't even know that he was actually talking to you. I just read what he was putting in the chat, and there's no room for that 4-year-old, that middle school bullshit. We're grown adults talking about a valid, realistic topic, and all he wants to do is come on here and act like a confused, lost drunk and just talk out of his ass about stuff that he has no clue what he's talking about. And he just, I got no time for it. If he wants to come back and be a man, and he ain't got to apologize to me. He ain't got to apologize to anybody as far as I'm concerned. If he wants to come back and be a man and shut up and listen and learn, that's cool. If not, he can go fuck himself.
But, right.
And I'm not saying just because I'm an internet warrior. If he wants my address, I'll give it to him.
You got me all grinning.
I don't play that shit, man.
I'm just grinning.
I was born. I'm old, bro. I don't do that yelling on the internet. I'm gonna pop you in the fucking mouth. That's the way you fix shit.
I've popped people in the mouth on the internet before too, and even offered to give people, tell me where you want to meet at.
Dude, he's
just
done pissed me off
because
so bad
it,
now.
it,
Anytime I see him in a room, I'm calling him out. I don't give a shit where he's at. I'm gonna call him out. This has been going on for way too long.
right. Well, so I like to really concentrate a lot on the mental preparedness aspect of things. You know, that's why I thought about it and came up with that saying of when you prepare your mind properly, all else will fall into place, because I really like that aspect of things. You know, when you go out there and, again, like I was saying earlier, you go out there and you use this fire striker, your ferro rod, and you spark a fire with it, and you're like, man, I know this one works. You use a different one, and it takes you freaking 20 minutes to get a spark off the stupid thing. I'm probably not going to have that in my tools. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's gonna be more of a mental aspect thing for me. That's where I like to go, and I like to listen to a lot of stuff that, I've got this one thing. So anyway, the thing about it is that I like to listen to this one thing called Academy of Ideas. And I don't know if anybody's ever listened to Academy of Ideas, but it's a philosophy type thing.
All right, let me see what this button here does. Can't believe it's already 5 minutes. Let's go ahead and just block that. There we go. Done. Now we ain't got listed of bullshit. If you sub to me, Lost Product, please unsubscribe to me. And if you have retarded friends that are sub to me, get them to unsubscribe too. Don't need your help. Don't need the drama.
Yeah. So yeah, Virginia Roots. About Academy of Ideas. Yeah, it's a lot of good mental philosophy, and it helps. I think it's really good with helping to prepare yourself, and it gives a lot of good insight to the things that are going on, and to what these people have been trying to do for us for years and years and years. And it ain't just over the last couple of 3 years or 10 years. This stuff has been going on for a really, really long time. They've had plans to do this kind of stuff for a long, long time, and it really gives some good insight. It really gives some good insight to it, and it kind of helps you to where the mental preparedness. To me, that's the most important thing, because, like I said, you can have all this stuff, but when shit really goes down, man, when it's really a bad deal, how is your mind mentally prepared for it? Are you really mentally prepared to stand out in the rain for 8 hours while you're trying to build a shelter because you had to bug out or whatever? Is your mind really prepared for that? Are you really prepared to sit there and say, man, I know I've only got 2 more weeks worth of food, and what I will have to do is to ration this food out. Now I got to watch my kids. I've got to tell my kids, this particular day we can't eat. We're not going to eat anything because we got to make this food last longer. You can go 5 days without eating. I mean, are you really mentally prepared for that? Are you mentally prepared to go and do what's necessary to get food for your kids if things go, for a really long time? And yes, Lady Hammer, I forgot to break in my ferro rod. Hmm. You do know you need to scratch that off, by the way.
I think that's what she was talking about. Because she was on the video last time when you were talking about scratching off the coating.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I kind of got a kick out of that one. You know what I'm talking about, Ghost.
Yeah.
I really got a kick out of that. But yeah. I mean, go and practice with this stuff, guys. You know, guys and gals, y'all practice with this stuff and practice doing this. You know, break out. You know, go in there and look in your preps and you know, have you got something in there that you bought because it was on sale and you don't normally eat it, but you thought, well, I could probably eat it in a bad situation. You know, go ahead and break a can of it out and eat it. See what it's like.
Yeah.
You know, kind of start to get yourself used to it. You know, I mean, there's so much to this. There's a lot of decisions. If shift really happens, man, you know, Ghost would say if the balloon goes up, there's going to have to be a lot of hard decisions made, and that's the one question I have, because I bet I could sit and ask people, have you got preps? People are going to be like, yeah, I got food, I got water, I got this, I got this. You know, I've seen it multiple times, but how prepared are you in your mind? How prepared are you to understand that that year's worth of food actually can turn into a year and a half's worth of food? You could actually turn it into 2 years of food if you do it right. You know, if you're willing to sacrifice a meal or two here and there. You know, if you're trying to, you know, that's another reason why I stressed about no bug out kind of thing. You know, bugging out into the woods or bugging out, because now you got to build structures. You've got to you're going to be having to eat so much more food and drink so much more water because you're having to build a structure just to make it safe and keep you dry and keep you warm.
Yeah.
You know, so you know the whole already got a house established kind of thing. You know, I mean, or how, you know, how, I don't know. I'm just saying how mentally prepared are
Right.
you?
And here's the thing too, and I went into this in detail last night. Roland Homestead and Wild Edibles and Gray Man were on last night, and I need to check them out. They're doing almost like what Backwoods and I are doing. They're doubling up on the shows. One brings homesteading knowledge, and the other one brings knowledge together. Just like Backwoods and I'm all about prepping, and he's all about you know who in the hell he is. But they had a show last night, and they invited me up on the panel, and we were talking, and Mark at Roland was talking about how my video that I did when I was starting my garden, how it really freaked him out, because I planted my seeds and I did it live on it. You can go in my channel and look at the videos. I planted, I don't know, probably 18 or 20 seeds. Okay. Every single seed that I planted came out of one of those really expensive seed vaults that you can order on that web page, Amazon. And I planted seeds from it last year, and I had a really good germination rate. This year, every single seed that I planted from that expensive seed vault, you know, that lasts forever, not one seed germinated, not one single seed germinated. And I documented it on film. I documented it because I wanted to show a failure on my part because my seeds didn't sprout. But the thing is, I showed a failure on relying on a seed vault that was transported to you through the mail. It was probably irradiated. They could have been substandard seeds, and everybody's saying, oh, I've got 50,000 seeds in a seed vault for the end of the world. Well, here's what you need to do. You need to open it up, and you need to start planting them right now and make sure they're viable seeds that work. And grow your fruit, grow your vegetables, save those seeds, make your own seed vault. Okay. Ordering online, you don't know. I live in North Carolina. Those seeds may have come from Oregon. Well, that shit's not going to grow here. It's a completely different climate. Your seeds are, you know, they're used to their neighborhood. The only things that sprouted that I planted were my tomatoes. Every single one of those sprouted, but they weren't from a seed bank. I got them at the co-op. And that really freaked Gray out because he's got this massive seed vault. And I told him last night, I think what I'm going to do is go back into that seed vault, and I'm just going to just go ahead and waste some seeds, and I'm going to spread them out and see if I can get anything to germinate, and try to save some seeds from that and figure out which ones are good and which ones are bad. So if your backup plan is a garden and you don't know if those seeds are viable, and I don't want to hear that, oh, well, there's a warranty on them. Well, fucking shit, it's the fan, and there's no there's no government, there's no law. Who you think is going to make that warranty good? You got to make those seeds good yourself. Grow them now, save those seeds on your own. Every year, pull off a couple of tomatoes, save those seeds, dry them out, put them in an envelope, store them safe, plant those next year, and do the same thing. Keep saving those seeds.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I've stressed a lot about a lot of that stuff, man, is that, you get, got a question earlier about, guns and such, And I can tell you what I think is best for me, what I can handle the best, but I can't tell you, I can give you, options and things to tell you about, but I mean, it's something you got to figure out for yourself, just like prepping. I can tell you that this particular thing is the best to prep, but it may not be something you even care for. It may be something you can't stand to eat. I like asparagus and all that crap. I hate that crap, man. In a bad situation, would I eat it? Yeah. I mean, I would, but as far as it goes for prepping, I'm going to be prepping stuff that I'm going to eat. You know what I'm saying? Stuff that my family are going to eat. These are things that we all need to take into consideration.
Oh, and by the way, everybody in the chat, Emily just posted Gray Man Prepping is Gray's channel. There's another guy out there that just changed his name, and he spells it Gray, Gray Man Prepping. That's not the cat you want to follow. You want to do the Grey, Gray Man. But yeah, I'm fixing to plant a whole bunch of seeds. I'm going to find out what's viable, what's not viable, and just go from there. Hey, Karen, what's going on? Mojo Man, welcome. Redneck.
I have to cover all my plants. Yeah, man, it's like we're not going to get any frost or anything, but it's only 50 degrees here, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, Tabitha Joshua, I do grow super hot peppers. Not that I eat them. I grow them to make bug deterrent for the garden. I'll grind those peppers up in a blender. I'll liquefy them, add a little bit of water and some Dawn dishwashing detergent, put it in a spray bottle, and I'll spray on my plants, and it deters the bugs quite a bit. It works really, really good. But I do use some of the hot peppers when I make my chow chow and spicy things like that. But I'm not a big hot pepper guy. David L says, Ghosting back.
Yeah.
Let me post it. I keep forgetting I can do that. Ghosting Backwoods, you guys got me through a tough time. I've been healing from a sickness in Memphis. I'm getting better. We'll be fishing soon with Backwoods soon. Awesome, bro. Awesome. Yeah, I lived in Memphis for 2 years. I feel for that. I hated Memphis. It's a good place to visit. I just did not like living there.
Yeah, that's there's place over here to trout fish, man. Little Red River over there, and there's some good trout in it. Some really, really good trout. And he said he was going to get in contact with me when he gets down this way, and I'll go over and go trout fishing with him. Not a problem. I love to fish. I love trout fishing, bass fishing, brim fishing, crappie fishing, cat fishing. I like fishing. It don't matter.
Yeah, what I'm going to do this year with my tomatoes, I planted 3 varieties. I planted beefsteak, Cherokee Purple, which is my favorite, and Big Zack. For those of you that are not familiar with the Big Zack, That's like the world record tomato. Those things can grow to be 4 and 5 pounds. Like the tomato is the size of your head. They're massive. But I'm gonna cross pollinate those, the Cherokee purple with the big Zac and the beefsteak with the big Zac, and see if I can get me some. I want a massive Cherokee purple. I love Cherokee purples, man. Those things are delicious. God.
So you're gonna grow a big one, are you?
Hell yeah. Yeah, there's a if you guys really want to learn about saving your own seeds right now, there's a YouTube channel you can go to. Crap. Now I'm drawing a blank. Roots and Refuge. Yeah, Roots and Refuge. Look that up, bro. There ain't much that comes to knowing about a garden that she can't teach you. She's awesome. Her gardens are massive, they're beautiful, and she grows everything. And she has a video dedicated to nothing but saving your seeds.
Yeah, she is very intelligent.
Yes, very, very. And the cool part is she has an awesome camera face and an awesome camera voice. She's just fun to listen to and watch. And she's funny as shit. She's a really good, she's got a perfect, she should be doing the news, like for real. She's got a perfect camera voice.
Yeah, she's really good.
And she gets her whole family involved, bro. They'll go out there in the greenhouse with a black light in the middle of the night and start yanking worms off their plants. They all get involved. Oh no, Tabitha, the reason I named my channel Ghost Prepper is kind of funny. I'll go back to the story again. I've been a part of the community for probably 5 years now, but just nobody ever knew it. I didn't start my channel until I built my channel in December. I didn't post my first video until February. But I've been a part of the community for years, and I've been prepping for years. I was just always like a ghost in the room, and that's kind of actually where it came from, because somebody had made a comment that I've been ghosting channels and I've been around for a while. So that's just, plus it sounds really, really cool.
Wow. North Central Pennsylvania is getting a frost again tonight.
Holy shit.
There's some.
Yeah, I heard that. She's moving it to South Carolina, Roots and Refuge. I heard that. Hopefully it's close to me.
Yeah, did you see that place? She did that video of that place they went to. Yeah, she did a video of a place they bought or whatever.
I need to check it out.
They had a lot of work to do, but man, it's like, wow, you know.
Yeah, she has a really cool channel. I love watching her. And there's several really good ones. Sawyer Ridge Farms. They're still pretty new. They've got an awesome channel. I learn a lot of my stuff from watching homestead channels. Homestead channels have so much knowledge, man.
Yeah, they do.
But like Sawyer Ridge Farms, that's where I learned how to build my rabbit cages. I copied exactly what he did, you know, and I even sent him a message, hey, bro, I just built my first rabbit cage exactly how you showed me how to do it. And he responded immediately. West of Columbia. Okay. So they're not real close to me, but they're not like super far.
Yeah, the truck stops with trucks stuck, no fuel. Yeah, it's going to get bad for a little while. Everybody needs in that over in that area. I mean, you're probably, there could be a chance of you getting into your preps for a little bit. Oh, yeah. Because, you know, I mean, you got to understand just like during that whole snowpocalypse thing, you know, when the trucks can't run, the food don't get delivered.
Yep, I need to prepare. Oh, yeah, and another really good channel is Hollis and Nancy's. HOLLIS, Hollis and Nancy's. They used to live in Virginia. Now they just recently relocated to Florida on a homestead. But his gardening knowledge is insane. He teaches how to grow almost everything in containers, and he does amazing videos. Amazing videos. Yeah, the Ultimate Goals Homestead.
No, the Redneck Prepper, what I saw, they had a map of the areas that were really going to be affected, and it doesn't come quite as far as Arkansas. It gets pretty close to us, but it didn't look like we're going to be in much of an effect off of that. Maybe a little, I'm sure it's going to have but everybody does need to understand that it's going to have a ripple effect all the way across the country at some point or another, because they're not going to allow one side of the country to be completely shut down. So I would imagine what they will do, it will take a lot of the fuel that they have in these different storage tanks, things like that, these different holding areas. They'll probably truck a lot of it across the United States. They'll have some stuff set up. So there's probably going to be some type of ripple effect all the way across the country. I would imagine. But we're not supposed to be as affected in Arkansas as what over on the East Coast is.
Well, you've also got places like Tampa, Florida. Tampa brings in a lot of their fuel oil on ships. It comes into the port of Tampa, and they'll load that stuff up on trucks and run it north in a heartbeat.
Yep.
That was the only good thing about when Hurricane Irma came through. Usually when a hurricane goes through, it's hard to get gas, but since most of that gas comes into the port, as soon as the weather cleared, man, they had tankers lined up. So, I mean, we got gas the very next day.
Yeah, I don't think that. I mean, I wouldn't. I would stand to say that the gas shortage you're going to see for about a week or two. It's hard for me to believe that we're going to see a 3-month gas shortage. There may be, they may limit some places, throughout the country and stuff. They may, limit you. You can get 20 gallons. That's it. Or 15 or whatever. Per this amount of time. I don't know. It's again, it's one of them things. It's really hard to know exactly what all they're going to do.
Yeah, and here's the thing too. These guys, I mean, that did this hack of the oil thing. This could have just been a test run. Imagine if they do it in November or December, and you don't get any fuel oil for your house if you heat with fuel oil. So if you do heat with fuel oil, and as soon as the supplies get back up to par, that's the first thing I would completely top off in the middle of the summertime. Go ahead and get your fuel oil for the winter. Redneck Prepper, I am right on the border of North and South Carolina, right in central North Carolina. I'm very close to a city called Rockingham.
Yeah. I don't know. It's one of them things, guys. We're just going to have to.
I'll be right back.
All right. We're just going to have to, like I said, you're preppers. Let's don't worry. You guys are preppers. Did y'all forget? You're preppers. Worst thing, I mean, I don't go anywhere anyway. So, I mean, I filled my truck up. I don't even remember how long ago it was now. And I've still got a little over 3/4 of a tank. I've been fishing. I hauled my boat to the lake and back and everything. And I mean, for those of you that live out in the country, you should be stocked up anyway. And if you live in town, you know what? You got 2 legs. Get up and walk. Walk to the store if you need to. I'm just saying. A lot of you's got 4-wheelers, motorcycles. Use your head. Don't. Maybe for the next couple of weeks, just don't plan on doing that extra traveling around that you were going to do or whatever. Just back it off a little bit and be like, I'll just you know, I'll do this or do that. Instead, you know, I'll just stay at home, catch up on The Walking Dead, figure out some of them scenarios we were talking about. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's ways around all of this, you know. I mean, if you got to go to work all week, you know, I mean, worst case scenario, I don't know, you know, you're maybe you can't get fuel, you know, you tell your boss, I ain't got no fuel. Can't come to work. What do you want me to do? You want to come get me? You want to come get me? I would love to come to work, you know. Yeah.
You know,
Lemon
it,
10
it
gallon.
blew my mind. Yeah, it blew my mind when I went out today and everybody's in line to get gas. You had a 3-day warning. We knew about this shit on Friday. And gas prices were stable until Monday morning when the stock market opened up and the futures went sky high. And then the gas prices jumped up 25 cents a gallon. Then everybody's got to go get it. Why didn't you get it beforehand? I mean, you had a 3-day warning to fill up your car. But everybody had to wait until Monday and today. To me, that's just stupid.
Backwoods. I told my kids today I was going to the bank, which I did, but I also went to the store and picked up a whole back seat carload full of supplies for the month. That's what I'm talking about. Perfect, you know.
Nice.
That's perfect. That's exactly what we should be doing. You know, I made that video about the snowpocalypse. I was like, they've been telling you this is going to happen for the last 3-4 days, that this was going to happen. And why is people, you know, about the third day that it was going on, when my wife was getting antsy and she wanted to go to Walmart, you know, so I was like, well, let's just go to Walmart, you know, let's get out and do something. I'm fine with it. We went up there and there was nothing on the shelves. It was all gone. There was a couple of little things here, like, you know, normally when you go up there, the chip aisle is just, I mean, it's just, you know, chips falling off the front, man. There was like 3 bags of chips, or, you know, it's like 10 or 15 bags of chips, but, you know, it was all the old chips nobody hardly buys, you know, and there was no eggs. There was, you know, the only reason why there was milk is because a truck got through and just happened to have brought it. But otherwise, the milk was empty before that truck did make it through. And yeah, exactly, Emily L. People don't believe it until this stuff slaps them in the face, and that's the whole point. We've been knowing for, you know, 3 days now that the pipeline shut down. Gas shortage is coming.
All weekend. You had all weekend to go get it because the gas prices were stable. They don't change until the futures market opens up on Monday morning. You know, and here's a funny story too. Back when the pandemic hit, you know, March of last year, when it was all crazy, you know, I didn't need to leave my house for months and months and months, but I like to give my dog exercise, my service dog. So I went to Walmart and the shelves were, I mean, they were just ripped apart. Here's the funniest thing though. I turned down the specialty aisle where they keep all the Mexican, Latin, Spanish food, all the Goya products, completely full.
Wow.
I mean, that average American white people don't realize that a fucking pinto bean is a pinto bean. It doesn't matter what kind of bag it's in. But either the Mexicans really just don't give a shit and they're not worried about it. But that aisle, all the Spanish food was completely full. Completely full. It blew my mind. I'm like, holy cow, I scored like some serious beans. But now if you went down the dried bean aisle, there wasn't a bag of beans to be seen.
Thank you, Tactical Technician, man. We appreciate you, brother. Get you some good night's sleep and be safe on the road tomorrow.
Definitely.
He usually gets up damn 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning and takes off, you know, and starts driving. Gotcha. But yeah, that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. You know, why are people lined up out to Wazoo today? I mean, that makes no sense at all. You know, that gas stations should have been near empty today because they were already out of fuel because people freaking got it over the weekend. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. You know, maybe some of them tried to. I don't know. But
you know, I mean, I don't know, man. People just don't. It's like when you tell your kid, don't touch the stove, it's hot. They're going to touch it. They're going to get burned once, and then they know. But the problem is, grown-ass adults, when they get smacked in the face 8, 9, 10 times in the last year with these different issues, and we've said, dude, go fill your shit up. Gas prices are going to go up. We don't think they're going to go up. We know they're going to go up because the fucking pipeline's turned off, okay? It wasn't a theory. It wasn't a conspiracy theory or just some hunch or an idea. No, it has to go up because there isn't any more gas, and they don't do it. And then they want to bitch about lines. Now that everybody's on Facebook bitching, sending pictures. I don't want to see your fucking pictures. Everybody's on Facebook bitching about gas prices, and there's lines at the gas station. You knew 72 hours ago, and you did nothing. So put on your shoes and fucking walk.
Well, and that's what I'm getting at, man. This country survived for many years without any kind of fuel, you know. And yes, cars make it a lot nicer and easier for you. I get it, you know. Some people can't walk that far. I get it. You know, but I understand all this, you know, but to sit on and talk about this gas and what do we do? What are we going to do a month from now if we can't get fuel? Well, you're a prepper. You're supposed to be a prepper. What do you do? What do you do? This is exactly what I was talking about with your mind. Prepping your mind for this stuff. You know, if I can't get gas for a month and everything, guess what? I'll probably still have gas in my truck and my vehicle out here because I don't go nowhere. You know,
That brings up like a great point of why Backwoods and I decided to do this channel and to do these streams together and to make it all about prepping. Well, let's say 90% prepping. Every now and then we get sidetracked by somebody with a crazy question and we have to stick one foot in a rabbit hole. And then you guys, thank God you guys are here to pull us back out and get us back on the prepping thing. But I mean, there are legitimately, and I know this isn't a news story for you, but in the last 18 months, obviously, since things went crazy, the prepping community on YouTube has multiplied like a couple of horny rabbits. Okay. Now there's like 15 gazillion channels with the word prepping in them. But here's the crazy part. Most of them aren't even preppers. Just because you sit in front of the camera and you talk a good game and you flash your little pistol or you flash, you know, all this super cool prepping stuff that you supposedly know what you're doing. You're not, if you're not sharing the knowledge, if you don't just interrupt somebody and flash your pistol and brag about being a prepper. That's not what a prepper does. Number one, I'm not going to show you my guns. Are you fucking crazy? That's just stupid. All right. For all you know, I just throw rocks when you come in my neighborhood. You know,
I've got two that I show, and that's only, or I've got 3 that I've shown, and that's only because I made videos of me shooting.
Right. Well, that's different. I'm talking about brandishing a weapon and claiming to be the superhero of the prepper world. Just because you get to pick your name, right? You weren't awarded the name, you know, prepper. Just because you put the word prepper after your name and you got 2 weeks worth of oatmeal, that's not being a prepper. If you tell me, hey, I've got 2 weeks worth of food, you need to do better. So you're telling me that you only want to live for an additional 2 weeks. Is that what you're saying? No. I want to hear years. I want to hear a decade plan. I want to hear how everybody's going to eat after you're gone. You know, I prep for the rebuild. I'm not prepping for an EMP. I'm not prepping for a nuclear war or a collapse. I'm prepping for the rebuild of whatever the fuck it is that takes half of humanity out. I'm prepping to be there at the end. You know what I mean?
Real quick, David L. I know where the Bulldog restaurant is, but I don't go out to eat. I hadn't been out to eat, and I mean, we do once in a while grab something here or there if we're out, but we just don't eat out. I mean, I've been to the Bulldog restaurant many times back when I was working, when we'd be working, you know, 12, 14 hours a day, where, you know, once in a while we would go out to eat, but we took our lunch a lot then even, you know, but because we'd be way out in the middle of nowhere most of the time. But yeah, that's the whole thing, man, is that I see people posting up about this pipeline, and like people are scared and freaking out and stuff, and people's like, man, what are we doing? They're talking about it on their shows, all, making shows just about prep, this pipeline, and I'm like, well, if you're a prepper, what does it matter? So let the gas go away for a month.
Who cares?
Who cares? What the worst case scenario, maybe I've only got 3 weeks worth of milk, and I can't get gas for a month, and so we don't have fresh cold milk in the refrigerator. I mean, I'm not going to die because I don't have fresh cold milk. Now, does Backwoods have some powdered milk in there? Yes. So when it comes to cooking things like I don't know, your what do you call it, the hamburger helper, you got to have some milk for some of it. I've got powdered milk. I just make me up some milk and I pour it in there. I've got the milk. I mean, just no big deal to me. So are we? What we should be talking about is what we need to be all talking about is, instead of worrying about this damn gas and worrying about the pipeline shutdown and how long are we going to be without gas, is what we need to be thinking about is, okay, well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and start getting myself ready and prepared to look at my preps. Okay. I might have to eat a little bit of my preps. I may have to get into my preps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get me a notepad right here, and everything that I use out of my preps, I'm going to write down. So when the gas comes back around, because it will, gas will come back just like toilet paper did, just like all this other stuff that everybody freaked out over. What I'm going to do is I'm going to write down the preps that I use. And when they get stocked back on the shelf, when the gas comes back around, yada, yada, I'll go out there and I'll replace them items. I'll put them at the back of my preps, move everything forward, and issue solved. For anybody to sit and think that gas will, for anybody that sits and thinks that we're not going to have gas for 6-8 months, a year, BS. Okay, they're not going to. They're only doing. If you notice these things, the toilet paper deal. Look how quickly it came back. Look how quickly. Think about that for a minute.
They're not going to let the gas go away. They want to make money.
Yeah. You think these big gas companies are, I don't care how much some of those up there in Congress scream and shout about this new deal and that new deal and this thing and that thing and electric cars. You think the gas companies are going to go, well, let's just let them have it. No, it don't work like that. Well, they lose money.
That's an asinine way to think, because 80% of the electricity that's produced to charge up the batteries in your electric car come from coal-fired factories. So, I mean, give me a break. Yapit matu okay, I have a lot of old gas from my past hurricane I need to dump. I had a friend say dump small amounts on weeds. What do you think of that? I'm not sure to go that route. Do not do that, number one. Number two, if you really want to get rid of your gas, there are places that you can turn it in. You can call Advance Auto. You can in safely. But here's my thing. How old is the gas? Okay, because I've burned gas that was 3 years old with no issues. All you got to do is mix in some fresh, high-grade gas with it, slosh it around a little bit, and you brought it back to life. You can wake up old gas, but you've got to mix it. I mean, if you've got a 5-gallon gas can completely full and it's a year, 2 years old, just get another 5-gallon gas can, empty half of it, and then fill both of them all the way up with high test, give it a little jiggle, and you just brought it back to life. Put it in your car and run it, especially a carbureted vehicle. If it's an older vehicle, put it in there. It'll run it through your lawnmower. But yeah, if you really got to get rid of it, if it's like 5-6 years old, take it to an auto shop. They'll dispose of it legally, because you can get your ass in a lot of trouble if you dump gas or oil.
Hey, I also heard something. I heard that part of that pipeline shut down, that it was propane. Is that right?
It's all it's heating oil, propane, jet fuel, car
Oh my
fuel,
gosh.
diesel, all of it, all that stuff.
What?
That there's
Well,
more than one tube in that line.
I got a propane grill out there. What if I can't grill my food?
Oh my God. Maybe you should research building a fucking fire with wood. You ever think of that?
What a hell of an idea, brother.
It'd be awesome if you had some cast iron pans, maybe. And what you could do is you can go in
I,
your kitchen and you can take that grate out of your oven, that middle grate, just take it out of your
uh-huh,
oven and go outside and put you up a couple of cinder blocks and put it over your fire and just have
uh-huh.
a field day. Just cook away, brother.
So
It'll work. I
you can
promise.
just, it's that easy.
You can just burn wood. When you burn wood, it makes fire, and it's so cool because fire makes this stuff called heat, which is the
Uh-huh.
same shit your oven makes, except it don't use
So,
electricity.
so slap me on the ass and call me grinning.
It's a crazy idea, ain't it? Ain't
It
it just
is.
crazy? It works.
Well, that's the whole thing. Do I prep charcoal? No. I've got woods out the ass around me. I can collect firewood for the next 2 years. I can go in my backyard right here because there's a big lot right there. It's probably 3/4 of an acre. That's behind me, maybe a little more. That's grown up that nobody has ever done anything with, and it's just like a big old thick patch of woods. And that's where I got most. I did go buy a rick of wood, but where I got all my stuff to for my fire starter and all that stuff, I just climbed the fence over there and went back there and got a bunch of old dead limbs and stuff. Yeah, I don't prep charcoal. It's just
Nah, I don't prep charcoal.
to me
I
is
used
no
to.
sense in
I used to, but I'm like, man, I got a fire pit in the backyard. Wood's free.
it. Mhm.
I'm just not gonna mess with charcoal. I used to. I gave like 4 or 5 bags away when I moved.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You and that's another great thought right there is that if you ever go to the dump or any place like that, you ever see an old stove or whatever,
Get
pull
that
that
great.
grate out there,
Hell
like
yeah,
he's
get that
talking
great.
about. It's not very thick, and you can just stash it over behind something for later. You know, you never know. And
I'm kind of like a native voice when it comes to that. If I see something on the side of the road I think I can use, I stop and get it.
trusting God. Yeah, I'm not. I can be very undomesticated a lot of times. Yeah, I mean, I just that's the whole thing, man. Is that you know, it's all right to talk about some of the pipeline stuff, and people are concerned, and I get it, and I don't mind to talk about it. I really don't. I don't fault anybody for keeping an eye on it. I'll keep an eye on it.
I
I've been
watch.
watching, kind of
But here's the
keeping
thing:
up.
I don't work for the gas company. I have no
Mm.
experience fixing those pipes. I'm not a computer genius. Nobody's asked my opinion or if I can fix it. So me getting upset or worrying about it is a waste of my energy. I'd rather just concentrate on, you know what? Let's put up some more rice and beans. Let's can some more chicken. Worrying about that damn pipeline that I have absolutely no input on whatsoever. Why would I?
And no
Why would I? Why
control
would I
over,
burn brain cells on that?
no control over. The only thing I want to know is, okay, might be a gas shortage. All right, cool. All right, how long? It might be a month. Might be 3 weeks. Okay. Well, if you go to the gas station, well, they might limit you to 10 gallons. Oh well, hell, I don't use it. It takes me nearly 2 weeks to use 10 gallons, as small as my town is. I don't. So I'm like, okay, well, there's a shortage in this, so they might not deliver a truck. So you may not be able to get a bag of chips. Well, I can do without chips. I don't have to have chips. You know what I'm saying? I like chips. I love eating chips. but I can go without chips for.
Yeah, I'm gonna get right on that.
Broke it for real. What did I break?
Yeah, it's gonna blow over. I think it's a test drive. I think it's gonna happen again in November. And all the people in the cold weather states are, man, people could die, like for real. If you heat your
Yeah,
house, if your only heat source is heating oil, you need to get it as soon as possible. And it's going to cost you probably 25, maybe even 50 cents a gallon more, but you got to suck it up. Because if this was just a test drive to see how easy it is to shut it down, imagine what's going to happen if they do it in December. You know, north of the Mason-Dixon line, life's going to suck if you ain't got a fireplace.
Yep. And I have one right behind me over here that heats this shop up. And guess what? When I got that stove, I went and purchased all the stuff to install that in my house. So I have everything in my outbuilding out there to install that fireplace in my house if I need to. That wood burning stuff.
Dude, growing up, we heated our house with a wood stove, and we also cooked on that damn wood stove. Not because we didn't have a stove, but because the wood stove was free. I mean, why not just put your pot of beans on the stove, put your pot of stew on the stove? I mean, on the wood stove, it's running all day, keeping the house warm. Why turn on the oven? Why have extra bills to pay at the end of the month? Just put a pot on the wood stove. And people are like, "What? You can do that? Come on, man! Yeah, you can do that."
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying, man. I mean, you know, we heat our house with natural gas. I mean, that we have natural gas here, and then, you know, our cook stove is natural gas. Should something happen, and which I mean, it's getting summertime now, so I'm not too worried about the natural gas part. You know, worst case scenario, we can't turn on the fire on the stove. Well, that don't matter to me. I've got a grill. I've got two grills out here, plus I've got another grill in there in the house that's still brand new in the box that I bought to keep in the preps, and that's what it's for.
Leslie, that is
You
a
know,
good question. We have a fireplace in our house, but I've never used it. Should we try to clean it ourselves or pay somebody to come clean it before everything goes crazy? The first time you do it, I would say pay somebody if you've never done it before to come out there and do it.
yeah,
It's not that expensive, and the process really isn't that hard. And just watch them, and then buy the stuff that you need to do it yourself from now on. But yeah, I'd say pay somebody to do it the first time and watch them like a hawk. And don't feel bad doing that. If they look at you over their shoulder, you're paying them to do it. You have a right to watch every single thing they do and then copy it down the road and never have to pay them again.
yeah,
But yeah, definitely if you've never done it before, pay somebody and learn. And then you can just go buy all the stuff you need to do it yourself. It's not a crazy hard process. I mean, it really isn't.
yeah. But I wouldn't. I mean, like I said, you know, it. And somebody was saying, Appalachian Prepper. And by the way, I subscribed to you today. I didn't realize I was not subscribed to you. I feel terrible for that. I did read the email, and I apologize greatly. But anyway, Appalachian Prepper says being aware and worrying is two different things. It is good to be aware of anything and everything going on around us because it will affect us. But worrying about anything is useless, and that is absolutely 100% true.
Yeah.
Like I keep saying, you know, people are like, man, what about you know this? What about that? What about the toilet paper shortage? Well, have you got rags? Have you got old socks? I mean, is your water still on? You know,
Here's a simple concept. Take a shit, take a shower, go on about your day.
you should have cleaning supplies. So, you know, I'll tell you one of the best things to buy. They got all this crazy cleaning stuff. Go buy you some dadgum Ajax. You can still get it off the shelf. That is some cleaning stuff. Man, I'm telling you, that stuff cleans. And you know, if you run out of toilet paper, get, like he said, hop in the shower real quick and wash your butt. Okay, it just is what it is. I mean, just don't worry about it. Start saving corn cobs. That's a little bit rough.
Yeah. Just, I mean, there's countries all over the world that don't even know what toilet paper is. All right, and they're still around. And it was so funny when you'd see people with grocery carts full. They would literally have a year's worth of toilet paper or more stacked up on these grocery carts. And I'm looking at them. I'm like, how much food do you have stocked up? Oh, I've got 3 weeks worth of food. You got 3 weeks worth of food and 3 years worth of toilet paper. So after 3 weeks, what logically makes you think you're going to fucking need toilet paper? You're going to blow your nose? Because you ain't going to be shitting. You ain't eating no food.
Yeah. If you don't eat, you don't poop. It's the way it is.
You don't need toilet paper.
Well, and that's the whole thing about all of it is that, guys and gals, I mean, seriously, the pipeline shortage, you're preppers, okay? You're preppers. If you did what you're supposed to, you've got enough gas in your vehicles, you top them off or whatever. I did not go top my 2 vehicles out in the driveway off. I didn't. I've got over 3/4 of tank in both of them. I don't use that much gas in a month.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't. When I go and I fill my vehicle up all the way, I mean, I can still go with the gas I've got in my truck. I could haul my trailer full of preps up to the only location that I would ever think of bugging out to on about a little over 1/4 of a tank of gas. I mean, it's about 3 hours away, and it usually takes me just a little over 1/4 of a tank of gas to get there. Because mainly when I take that trip is when I've got that trailer loaded down with my 4-wheeler and all my camping gear and, all that stuff anyway. So I could load that trailer down and still make it to where I would bug out to if I had to bug out.
Right.
So
I mean, in a day, if I make a prep run, my round trip is maybe 10 miles. So and with the gas that I have, I have over 100 gallons that I run through, but I rotate it. I'm good for a long, long time, like legitimately a long time.
Well, and that's the whole part of it. Again, like I said, man, it's so you got to dig into your preps a little bit. That's why you're preppers. Big deal.
You should be using your preps. You should be getting used to eating it. I eat my preps every damn day, just about. I'm at a part where I cycle through. I'm eating preps and I'm putting new ones back. I'm eating and I'm putting new ones back.
I ate some of my preps today, actually.
Did you?
Yeah. It was I looked into our pantry in there and I was like, well, crap, man. I don't have any Wolf Brand chili in here with beans. And man, I was so wanting a Frito pie because dadgum, I listened to a little bit of Trusting God's deal today, and he was saying chili ain't chili without beans in it, and I agreed. And then they said something about a Frito pie, and I was like, man, that sounds really good. And we got a big bag of Fritos here, and yeah, you can, Karen. Yeah, if you can actually put them in the oven, or you can. You've got a deep fryer. Yeah, you can make your own chips. Yeah,
I have a little deep fryer that I got at Walmart, and I have a slicer. I slice them real thin, and I put them in the deep fryer. But when I pull them out, if you go down the potato chip aisle, there's also the popcorn aisle, and you can get these little shakers of different kind of seasonings: salt and vinegar, sour cream and onion, cheddar, whatever. And you can season your. It's so easy, and it tastes way better. I mean, because I don't like them super like my homemade potato chips. I like them like a little bit floppy. You know what I mean? I don't do like crazy crunchy. I like them like a little bit floppy, almost like country style potatoes. But you can season them with that little shakers, that salt shaker thing that you get for your popcorn. They're delicious.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can. That's what I was going to say. You can put them in the oven. You can put them in a dehydrator. You can put them in a fryer. You can make your own chips. That's not no big deal. We actually make crackers. Take saltine crackers and put a little bit of oil on them, olive oil, something like that. Just whatever kind of oil. It don't matter. Put it all in a baggie, just a little bit, just enough to where it kind of coats them just a little, but not enough to make them soggy. And just basically sprinkle whatever seasoning you want in there, and then put them in the oven and bake them for just a little bit. Man, we put like cayenne pepper on them and stuff like that. Make some damn good crackers, boy. You can put sour cream and onion powder, get that ranch, sprinkle that stuff in the bag.
Oh, and then for you guys in the chat and you too, Backwoods, since you're still pussyfooting around with your cannon, I went today and I got probably 30 pounds, maybe a little bit more than 30 pounds of split chicken breasts. I'm gonna can another batch of chicken and several batches of bone broth and chicken broth, and I also got my wax in to wax my cheese. I got about 5 pounds of cheddar I'm gonna wax, and I got about 14 or 15 pounds of butter I'm gonna make ghee. I got a lot of stuff to do this week.
Man, I tried waxing my cheese one time, man. It really hurts, dude. How do you do that?
I was waiting on you to make that, boy. you gotta be real gentle.
Yeah, them crackers though, man, they're really good. So yeah, making your own chips is not really that big of a deal. I'm growing potatoes out there right now.
I might actually go make some right now. She's making me hungry. I might actually go make some right now here in a minute.
Well, we got a great big old bag of Lay's sour cream and onion chips in there. So, and some of that dip. Oh man, some of that sour cream and onion dip. The Dean's or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I use. The Dean's.
Yeah,
it's that French onion.
Yeah, French. Well, yeah.
Be charming. I'm gonna video all of it. I'm gonna video the cheese. I'm gonna video making the ghee, and I'm gonna video doing my chicken and the chicken bone broth. But if you don't want to wait for mine, Alaska Prepper has an awesome. Actually, he has a couple of videos making ghee. Very easy to follow instructions. I'm using his instructions. I'm doing the way he does it, and it's just simple, easy, and very. His videos are awesome, man. And I love Alaska Prepper, man. Rudy's awesome.
Yeah.
I like making my own mayonnaise.
Yeah, I just really think that, like I said, a lot of people need to just understand that, guys. I mean, we're preppers. Don't panic. Don't worry about it. If we can't get gas for a month, then deal with it. You're preppers. Yeah. You're not going to starve to death, and you should have water filtration.
Being pissed and angry is not going to change the situation.
No.
You can be as angry and as mad and as upset as you want to be, but you can't do anything fucking about it. You can complain. You can go on Facebook and YouTube and make videos and be all upset and plan. Shut up. Stop whining. All right. There's nothing you can do about it. Fucking move on. All right. You got food. You got water. You got all the stuff you need. Really? Just deal with it. Sit back, relax, and watch everybody else freak out.
You know what? Really and truly, if gas didn't come around for a month, use that as a training exercise to get used to, what to do, and use it to each day. Well, hell, you can't go nowhere in the car. So guess what? You still got 2 feet. Get out there and go walk around the block a couple of times. You got to do something. You know what I mean? Yeah. So go out there and walk around the block a few times. Go out there and sit in the backyard and read a prepping book. Read a book that you can get some knowledge from and look at it and be like, well, it says to do this and this. Well, let me just try it out, and practice. I mean, there's so many good things that you can actually use a bad situation to your advantage of learning, the next time, because you can't go. I mean, if you can't survive a month, I mean, you're behind the ball game.
Yeah. If you're doing it wrong, you need to pick up your pace. Goes to Backwoods. I have a small old wood stove that I saved out of our house fire, and I have been wanting to scrub it down, use my wire brush on it, and spray it with some maybe high heat paint. Yeah.
They have, yes, they actually, a lot of your hardware stores that sell any kind of fireplace stuff, like wood burning stove stuff. And then there's a lot of places around, if you'll look around in your phone book, or look it up on your phone or whatever. There's places that they specialize in these wood burning stoves, and just things like that. Most every one of them will have that high heat paint. It's made just, dang man, it's made just for them stoves and everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can just follow what it says in there.
Get you some new fire brick for the inside. Give it a good scrub. Paint it. You're good to go.
Yep. Yeah. That's why I was saying, yeah, that's why I was saying, don't just go buy high heat paint. You got, it's stuff made for stoves. That's why I was saying, go to where they sell that particular kind of products, because it's designed for the stoves to repaint your old cast iron stoves and stuff like that, your old wood burning stoves. And it's designed for that. Yeah, the guy down the road, he's got a pretty good little stove section in his place, and he's got some of that in there. I saw it in there when I was looking around just to see what all he had when I got my wood burning stove. I just wanted to kind of see what all he had. And my stove didn't come with a wood grate,
Mm-hmm.
And the first couple of nights until I was able to get down there, it was because I'd done it on a Friday and got it all installed, and put my first fire in it Saturday night, and it was one of them things of he's not open on the weekend, and it didn't have a wood grate. Man, it's hard to burn a fire in there without a wood grate. I'm just going to tell you.
Yeah, you got to have an air gap.
Yep. Well, what I did was I took some because I have these woods back here behind my house. I went back there and found this one tree and cut it down and got some real green logs, which it added a little to the smoke, but I stuck them underneath, So about that big around, stuck them underneath, and then stacked the logs on top of it.
I mean, and a lot of people don't burn green wood, but yeah, I remember growing up, in the wintertime, especially at night before we go to bed, my daddy would always throw in 1 or 2 green logs in the middle of all the seasoned wood, because it will burn, but it makes it burn a lot longer.
Yeah.
You just got to have a real good heat to it. So it actually extended the life of the fire. But as far as just starting a fire with all green wood, good luck with that.
Why would you want to oil the stove?
They got to be talking about a cast iron skillet.
Well, no, he said, can you oil the stove and burn it to treat it like a cast iron skillet?
It's not cast iron.
Yeah. Well, some of the old ones are
well, cast iron. I guess you could probably do it and cook meat or right on the top of it. But I would just use it as a cooktop and put the cast iron on top of it. But yeah, hell, I guess you could. Why not?
Yeah, I don't know why you would. I mean, I don't know what the point of that would be.
I mean, if it's painted, there's no need to oil it. I mean, if it's legit cast iron, I mean, if it's got the
Right.
high heat paint on it, you're not cooking directly on the surface. You're cooking in your cast iron. So just keep your cast iron.
Well, what do you think, man? You want to
Yeah,
keep going for a little bit? Or,
I think we had a good show. I mean, hey, Princess Buttercup. I mean, we're at what, a little over 3 hours now.
yeah.
I think I'm gonna go make me something to eat. I might go pop in a few other rooms if anybody's live and see if that asshole that was in here is talking shit. I'll go troll him for a little while. He pissed me off, man.
I just started clicking around. I see Tribe went live.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna go
Yeah,
over and listen in.
he's been live for 70 minutes now.
Pop over there and see what he's doing. I
Yep,
want to
just Josh and Native
thank you
Voices there.
guys. I want to thank you guys for coming in here tonight and helping us out with these two scenarios. I think we had a pretty good show, and I know we had a pretty good drawing. Zane won the drawing, so I gotta link up with her and find out what she wants, what kind of prize she wants. But yeah, I want to thank everybody for coming in here, and I'm gonna go make me something to eat, and then I'm gonna go listen to see what Native's got going on. If you guys want to stay up, let's go over and check out Native for a little while.
No, it's on Tribe's channel.
Oh, I'm sorry. Prepper
Yeah,
Tribe.
Prepper Tribe.
Oh, I thought you said Native. Prepper Tribe.
Oh, well, I'm saying Prepper Tribe, Josh, and Native is in there.
Oh, okay. Well, hell yeah. We'll go over and check them three out.
They're actually talking about the Colonial Pipeline. Well, we have
Everybody is. I mean, you can't not talk about it. You know what I mean? But you can't not talk about it. But I'm not going to worry about it. You know? All right, you guys. Well, thanks for hanging out with us for the last 3 hours and 15 minutes. I appreciate it. And I know Backwoods does as well.
Oh, absolutely.
And we look forward to seeing you guys Friday right here at 10 o'clock. And look for a post from me sometime tomorrow in the community chat. I'm going to throw something out there because I've been invited on a live stream tomorrow night, and I'll have all that information up if you guys want to check it out. It'll be cool. And other than that, I guess we will talk to you guys later. Have a wonderful night.
Yep. See y'all. Love you guys. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you very much.